What is going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me? Hello, hello? Hello, hello? Kurukami Najimi saying PC gaming versus console gaming. We can't make an entire stream about that. Plus, I don't know anything about it. I literally just know that PC gaming's more convenient, but I will always prefer being able to sit down at like a TV. That's just me, right? I've played multiple, like my favorite games I played on PC. Sekiro, Dark Souls 3, I played them all on PC. Bloodborne I'm playing right now on console because I have to. But in general, I'm always going to prefer playing on a console because I just feel more relaxed, you know? You got a big-ass TV and shit, and you just got, I don't know, it's just more relaxing. All right. Listen. The FPS King Gaming says more thoughts on Doctor Doom being cast as Doctor Doom. Also I missed from Hongshu Mimimi. Thanks for the 2 guys. Morj is giving me his kidney. He'll be late. That's accurate. That's what was happening. Sorry about that, guys. You might hear some more background noise. Can anyone hear background noise right now? There might be some more background noise. My girlfriend and her dogs are staying over at the moment, so you just might hear more things happening at the moment, which is also why I'm turned around right now. Virgil Hawkins, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 22 months. Hot take, Thanos is the most overrated. Couldn't decide between a sadistic tyrant and a villain with complex motivation, so they combined both and did it poorly. His plans, very stupid and insane. I'm not going to say Thanos is overrated because I think that Thanos is the best. I do genuinely think that Thanos is the best as far as I've seen from Marvel. To be fair, I've not seen Black Panther. So I don't know about Killmonger. I put him on the thumbnail because I need to put people that are popular on the thumbnail, but I haven't seen that. But besides Thanos, like, who's a really memorable Marvel movie villain? Like, nobody, right? I think Thanos is a cool movie villain. I think, because, I think it's very difficult to have the type of effect and like memorable lines and dialogue that Thanos did and really live up to the idea of one villain who is a fitting villain for the entirety of the MCU and having that play out over the course of obviously Infinity War and Endgame. And then on top of that, somebody made a good point, which is that when it came to writing Infinity War, which covers so many different Avengers storylines, right? How do you tie all of those together? Really, Thanos he's not the protagonist of Infinity War, obviously. He's the antagonist, but he is essentially the entire story goes through him, which is pretty rare even for a villain, like a movie villain. The entire story is like all the heroes are split up. Thanos is the character that we're kind of following the POV of the entire way through, meeting all of these different Avengers and his encounters with them. I think that's pretty cool. Behenort, what's up? Spend the entire previous night watching Delta Rune videos. My hyperfixation resurfaced. Now I'm going to pull another all-nighter watching Mr. George Morj. Thanks, I appreciate it. I don't know what Delta Rune is, but I don't know what Delta Rune is. I have no commentary on that. Andrea Anami says, Infinity War Thanos is what I was hoping Kaido would be like. Hey, me too, man. Isaac says, Killmonger is overrated anyway. All right, there you go. Uwu, thanks for the 5. UFO update. Major book comes out next month on 20th. Imminent by Elizondo. 2 documentaries with prominent people coming forward. And NDAA 2025. Listen, man, I'm not going to get behind any UFO stuff. I'll just say I do believe aliens are real. I'll say that. I do believe that aliens are real. I've got no perspectives on whether or not what the Pentagon is or isn't hiding from us, you know. Personally, I think the Eiffel Tower might be, I don't know if that one's man-made. People talk about Stonehenge and stuff, but I've got my eye on the Eiffel Tower. That's just me. Bunfagum, thanks for the 7. Hey, Morj, what do you think the chances are of Oda addressing the Grim Reaper Zoro on Wano? It nicely ties in Zoro's relationship with death. I don't personally think that's going to be a thing. I don't think that's going to be a thing that Oda ever addresses. That's honestly where I'm at right now. Maybe I'm being... I think that might have just been Oda's way of trying to show just how close Zoro is to death, literally showing him a Grim Reaper. I think that was just a visually symbolic thing. I don't think Oda's ever going to delve into that, really. Personally. That's my honest thought on that. Philly, thanks for being... Oh, wait, first of all, let's all get the... Hold on. Let's get the... What the hell? Oh, I see. First of all, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. Let's get the stream likes up to 100. Forgot to ask about the most important part. What is Deltarune? Deltarune, it's a chapter? Wrenchstar 2000 says he's actually the protagonist of Infinity War, though. He's the POV character. That's not really what protagonist is, though. Protagonist is basically the character that the conflict is basically saying is the essentially the hero of the story, right? That's the idea of protagonist, right? Just because you get the most screen time or the most interesting character, that doesn't really make you the protagonist. It feels like Thanos is the protagonist, but he's not the hero. He's not being written to be the hero of the story. He is being framed as the antagonist, and the protagonist is more quantity over quality. There's not a singular protagonist. The protagonists are the general concept of all the, various Avengers, right? Sorry, moving on. Philly, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Thoughts on Bloodborne so far? It was my first and favorite FromSoft game for a bit. I had to buy it twice because I sold it back the first time because I hated it all. I fucking love Bloodborne so far, but it is very, very difficult. Bloodborne is really difficult. I feel like if I'm thinking back to previous games, and I'm going to do a From Software stream at some point. Either after I finish Bloodborne or once I do Elden Ring. Maybe I'll do one before and after Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is just so fucking long. It's as long as all the others combined, probably, right? And I heard from people in the... I went to an event this weekend where I got to talk to people who have played Elden Ring and the DLC, and they're telling me that it's the hardest shit From Software has ever put out. So I am concerned about that. But at the moment, Bloodborne, I'm loving it so far. For me, Bloodborne is a merging of what I love from Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. I feel like it has the level design, the visual artistry, the atmosphere, etc. of Dark Souls 1, but it's got some quality of life things for Dark Souls 3. It's got a bit more polish like Dark Souls 3. It's got better... Bosses are tricky, because the bosses are somewhere between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 bosses are great once they get good. Dark Souls 1 bosses, they're fine, and some of them are great, right? Bloodborne is somewhere in the middle, but it feels like a bridge. It's not going to be as good, necessarily, as Dark Souls 3 in terms of bosses, I'm guessing. I haven't gotten to the best ones yet, but it's somewhere in the middle. So it's a merging of what I love from those two. And then Sekiro is off on its own island. But I will say Bloodborne's combat is better than Dark Souls 1, better than Dark Souls 3. So in terms of combat, it's close to Sekiro on that scale, right? So it's kind of, if you got like a triangle of things I like from Dark Souls 1, things I like from Dark Souls 3, things I like from Sekiro, I feel like Bloodborne is like a happy medium somewhere in between all of those, which is why I'm really, really loving it right now. Yeah, that's how I feel at the moment. And I'm pretty close to being done. I feel like I'm 75, maybe 80% done now. I killed the one reborn, so wherever that puts me. Icaros, thanks for being a Yonko chairman for a month. Hey Morj, been watching since the dawn of One Piece video. Been a wonderful journey. Keep it up, man. Thanks for all you do. Helps the writing process a lot. I'm always happy to hear that people can watch my videos and then feel like they can take away something. And then feel like they can take away something for how they want to write their own stuff down the line. So I'm always happy to hear that. All right, we got to discuss something really, really important right now, okay? Because I wasn't sure what topic to do for this video, for this stream, because the plan was to do a reaction to the One Piece episode. Now, I've heard that the One Piece episode that came out is ass. And so maybe next week's episode I can react to. I think I'll be able to react to next week's episode. But this week's episode is a no-go, right? I've heard that nothing fucking happens. So, backup plan, I was like, what really happened this weekend that people were excited about? The Robert Downey Jr. turning out to be Doctor Doom thing, right? So I decided to do that. However, understandably, if people want to keep it One Piece focused, we can do that. But I need a new topic then, basically. Is there a different sort of tier list people want to do, or a topic that people want to discuss? Brooke is the GOAT. Thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 4 months, man. Yo, Morj, MCU is desperate as fuck for bringing RDJ back, and for Emu being NL or Doflamingo, I don't see that happening. He will likely be more like Hitler and Stalin in terms of philosophy. I think we don't know enough yet about Emu. I just don't know if he's gonna have anything other than anything much more complex than a God complex type philosophy. Because to have a real philosophy, it has to be more like X, Y, or Z is like, I created the world in this way because I believe that that's best for society or something like that, right? And it's just a really dystopic society. But that's not the case with Emu. It really feels like the world government, Celestial Dragon system, all of it is just purely selfish. It's like, I will create the world in this way so that I can just take all the resources out. It's just a pyramid, right? Like, everybody there is below, then us celestial dragons are at the top, and then even above the celestial dragons is me, Emu, and all of it just flows up to me. I feel like that's kind of what it seems, the way the world is set up, etc. It feels very NL-esque, right? As for MCU and RDJ, I agree that they're desperate. At the same time, I have to acknowledge, and I've not watched an MCU movie since fucking Phase 3 ended, since Endgame, right? I've no interest. That's a lie. I watched Spider-Man, No Way Home, right? Far From Home or No Way Home? Whatever the one was with the big crossover between all three of them. I really like that, but I've not watched the rest of those, any of the new MCU. So I do think that it's desperate. It's not going to be enough to bring me back, probably. However, I would say that this is one of the smartest moves that they could ever fucking do. Like, this is a brilliant move because it does two things, right? What we were missing it. Like, the move is so fucking smart. Obviously, they had to throw a bunch of money, but it's a smarter move than just bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, because the two things that happened after Phase 3 ended was, one, you lost the star. The star at the center of all of these Avenger bullshit things, right? It's, at the end of the day, it's Robert Downey Jr. It all started with him, with Iron Man. Technically with Incredible Hulk, but nobody fucking watched that. So it all started with Iron Man. He's the guy. Like, he's the protagonist, right? You got a lot of other protagonists coming around, but at the end of the day, he's the guy that really launched it. He's the hero. He's the hero of the story. At the same time, we had the villain, right? You had the villain being shaped up, Thanos. Having an overarching villain allows for an overarching storyline to slowly develop with the Infinity Stones. All of these Infinity Stones plot points are leading to Thanos. You're building up Thanos, right? So while you've got a ton of different things going on in the MCU, at the end of the day, you've got the key things that keep core audience members focused, which is you've got your protagonists, right? Like RDJ, like a constant. He'll show up in other movies like Spider-Man, whatever, right? It's like a constant fixture. And then you've got this overarching villain storyline that's slowly taking shape, right? What happens at the end of Phase 3? You lose your center hero, you lose your star, and you're done with that villain storyline. So now you got to build up. Do people give a shit about the new heroes? Not so much. Do people give a shit about the new villain? Kang? Not so much. So you're missing the two fucking things that help make a story, which is like a central piece, a hero and a villain. What is the genius of this move, making Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom, is that it's a 2-in-1. I have to give him respect for thinking of doing this because it's a 2-in-1. It's like, here is how we bring back our charismatic hero, Robert Downey Jr., and in one single stroke at the same time, set up a villain that the casual audience might actually suddenly be interested in again because it's the same fucking person. You bring back you've got your star again, only this time he's the villain. So now it's like you've solved two problems in one go. It's like what the casual audience might latch onto and be interested in seeing playing out in a similar way to Thanos. Fucking bring back RDJ, the hero that they were all interested in watching, the charismatic star in the first place, right? That we all feel the big missing hole of. It cancels out two things in one go, or it checks off two things in one go, and it does it in a way that's not technically bringing back like Iron Man, like Tony Stark to life, so it allows that to stay dead. It's just a really, really fucking smart move. They must have thrown him a shit ton of money to do it. There's some interesting aspect, because like, Doctor Doom is obviously, if you're a comics person, Doctor Doom is obviously a very different character than Iron Man, but it's like close enough in concept that you could see like a twist, like, oh, what if, like, you know, Tony Stark's really fucking smart genius, etc., yada yada yada. What if some alternate universe, like, he is Doctor Doom, right? You could see that like train of, it's not a like crazy way out there alternate universe pick or anything like that to do it that way. So it's just a really smart move. 2 for 1. Bring RDJ back, and in that same move, like, bring RDJ back in a way that makes sense, and in that same move, set up a villain that people are actually going to be interested in. Like, I didn't give a shit about MCU stuff. I could have told you right now there's not a single person they could have cast as Doctor Doom that would have made me give a shit before this. Then they revealed it's RDJ, and I'm just like, that's cool. Like, that's an interesting concept. Tony Stark in an alternate universe being Doctor Doom. Am I still going to watch it? No. But if it's at least interesting enough for me to probably read about, and I'll probably fucking Wikipedia it, and if it's interesting enough for me to read about in Wikipedia, then you can bet your ass that it's going to bring a lot of at least other casual fans back in the MCU. So long tangent there, but you know, I think it's a smart move by Marvel. I do agree that it reeks of desperation, but it's still a smart move, you know? it's a move that could breathe life into the MC. It could allow them to chug on through one more phase, basically. One more phase or two. Sorry, it seems I missed a super from New X7. My bad, man. Let me catch you. New X7, thanks for the 5. Got my U.S. citizenship Friday. Oh, congrats, dude. That's huge. U.S. citizenship. My parents always told me, because I wasn't born a U.S. citizen, I was able to get U.S. citizenship. But my parents always told me U.S. citizenship is the most powerful citizenship in the world. It opens a lot of doors for you, so you should appreciate the fact that you have it. So I've always tried to appreciate that, because it opens just so many doors. Theory. Voice of all things is, so appreciate that you got that. You know, that's congrats, man. It's a big deal. Voice of all things is a language / ability from Ancient Kingdom / Nika, paralleling Tale of Tower of Babel and Holy Spirit upon Jesus' apostles. I know Tower of Babel was a thing where like they tried to merge all languages or something like that, or like there was a bunch of, no. There was a singular language and then everybody got split, like all the languages got split up or something like that, so then there were multiple languages. I'm not going to know too well. So unfortunately, I don't know. Unless you're saying that Voice of All Things is the language that everybody knew from back in the day. But the thing is, in the One Piece world, language isn't really a thing. Like, split up language. Like, everybody speaks the same language, except for, I guess, like, animals, like the Sea Kings and stuff like that. So I feel like it's not quite the same thing, but I also don't know enough about the story you're referencing to say for sure. Growth Stonks, thanks for the 5. Sora, Warrior of the Sea, is based on Joy Boy. Emmet is the robot from that comic, and the egg on Roger's ship is the seagull always seen with Sora. What? Whoa! What? That's a really cool idea. What the hell? Sora, Warrior of the Sea, is based on Joy Boy. That's interesting. Fuck, that is interesting. I remember people were saying that the robot that we first got in Vegapunk's Island looked like the robot from the comics. I don't know, because we already seen a silhouette of Joy Boy, and it's nothing like Sora. But I do wonder, because Sora, Warrior of the Sea is it's just such a random inclusion in the story. It's like, hey, even though we've been like reading One Piece newspapers forever, here's a thing you guys have never heard about. It's Sora, Warrior of the Sea, who fights against Germa 66, the Army of Evil. It's like, what? And it's like, yeah, and this is Sanji's family. It's like, this feels like really half-baked, like retroactive inclusion of concepts for Oda, who is usually really good at like dropping in stuff like that much earlier in the story. So I still don't know what the significance of all that Sora shit is, but I guess it matters for some reason. Lars Mango, thanks for the 7. Morj, do you think Zoro is the deuteragonist of One Piece since Oda called his prototype the second MC? I don't know if One Piece really has one, but Zoro sort of fits. I think if you had to say One Piece has a deuteragonist, you would probably say it's Zoro, but at the same time, like Zoro's the only one who's a candidate for it, right? But at the same time, it's just the story is so overwhelmingly Luffy focused and so it's just so overwhelmingly Luffy focused. I have a hard time saying that Zoro would genuinely qualify as deuteragonist of the entire story. I think if you had to pick one, it would be Zoro. I think in some videos I've even mentioned Zoro as the deuteragonist of One Piece, but those will usually be like Zoro-centric videos, so it's kind of hyping him up. I don't know if I honestly truly believe like if you compare to other definitions of that, like Zoro is not to One Piece what Sasuke is to Naruto. You know, it's not to that degree of significance. I think the story is good with Luffy being the primary character and the rest of the Straw Hats essentially being they should all be roughly equal. Obviously, that's not actually the case. Obviously, Zoro is much more important than, say, someone like Brook. But the idea being Luffy is first and foremost, and then there's a big gap in significance. I think that's good for the ideas of the story. But I could see Zoro kind of being a deuteragonist if you really wanted to stretch the definition. Soka King, thanks for bringing Yonko to your member for 6 months. Morj, what do you think of Emu being a version of Sir Usopp who didn't leave Water 7 with the Straw Hats? Oh, so you think, also thanks for the streams for 5 years now, I have a job. Oh, congrats, man. Congrats. I assume you mean you just got a job. So seriously, congratulations on that. So you're saying something like Usopp basically... Or sorry, you're saying something like Emu was on Joy Boy's crew, and then Joy Boy ditched him at some point, and then just so Emu was so heartbroken that basically he, not heartbroken but pissed, but like, you know, one of those revenge type storylines, like I hate the world and I hate Joy Boy and all this. I don't know about that. I feel like Emu, because Emu we know is like Saint Nerona. It seems like he was a big deal even before everything went down in the war. Like, he was a king. Also, let's get the stream lights up to 100 real quick. Remix King, thanks for being Yonko to your member for 18 months. Yo, this is the perfect time for you to react to the video I sent you. BTW, have you been watching the Olympics this year? The skateboarding have been so hyped. What was the... Okay, let me pull up again. Because I remember I looked at the video you sent me, and it's like an hour long or something like that, right? I did say I'm saving all reaction content for the day that I'm doing anime episodes. So this is not the perfect day for that. But let's see. Let me click on the link. Can you send it to me on Twitter again? Oh, no, the complete story of Pokemon Adventures. I see. The complete story of Pokemon. No, dude, this is 52 minutes. This is 52 minutes. I mean, I guess I could do this. I just don't know if anybody... Okay, I can do a poll for the viewers if they want to do that. If they want to do that, then it's up to the viewers. But I don't know if I could watch a whole fucking 52-minute thing of Pokemon Adventures, because this is not just up to me. This is up to whether viewers actually want to watch it. Wait, the animation was insane? What was insane? The episode? From what I heard, the episode was like not a lot of stuff happening. So, I don't know. As for the Olympics, no. Can anybody tell me where do I fucking watch the Olympics? And don't you fucking say Peacock TV. I don't believe there's a single fucking person in the world who actually has Peacock TV. Where are you guys watching Olympics? Can somebody tell me? What's the simplest way? People want me to watch the Pokemon Adventures? Okay, I could watch the Pokemon Adventures. I'm gonna cry if I have to watch Pokemon. Okay, here's the rule. If I have to watch Pokemon Adventures, I'm gonna watch it at my speed. I will watch videos sped up, so I'm gonna watch that, somewhat sped up. I can watch, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Okay, cable. Who the fuck is cable? NBC? And you guys are saying this like, this is the fucking 1950s and we're all still fucking watching cable or some shit. YouTube? Is it free on YouTube? Do you pay on YouTube? NBC or network TV? Ace by Comeback says everyone is Peacock. It's not that obscure. That is... How many people have Peacock TV? It's going to tell me like 4,000. All right. It's a lot more people. It's a lot more people than I thought, actually. Peacock has 31 million. That's pretty good. It's actually not that far off from like Hulu, which is like 50 million. All right, maybe I should have Peacock TV. What the fuck else do I watch on Peacock TV, though? What else would I be watching on Netflix? Or on NBC? The Office? I love The Office. I'm like a, living, breathing human. But, what the fuck? Virgil Hawkins says everyone is Peacock. It's the best streaming service. What's even there to watch on Peacock? What? Peacock streaming shows. What do you watch on Peacock? Does it have movies? It's just The Office, which is great, but I'm not just going to fucking watch The Office on loop over and over again. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I like that too. What are you guys watching on fucking Peacock TV? Oh, wait, it also has The British Office. That's pretty good. And it has extras. And it has 30 Rock and Parks and Rec. But 30 Rock and Parks and Rec are also on other streaming services. Do you guys just buy Peacock for The Office? Wait, Terraformers as an anime? Terraformers as an anime? Was Terraformers good? No, is the Terraformers anime good? You guys don't understand. I used to read Terraformers. Weird ass manga, but interesting. I get free Peacock with Xfinity Internet? Peacock has Shrek? Wait, Seinfeld's on Peacock? Seinfeld's on Peacock? Monk and Psych? What? What am I doing? I should just have Peacock. Oh my god, I would love Peacock TV. Oh my god. Alright, I guess I have to get Peacock. Alright, you guys have convinced me. I guess I have to get Peacock TV. Alright, I'll get Peacock TV. That sounds good. How much does it cost? How much does Peacock TV? How much does Peacock TV cost? $7.99 per month. Or 12 with... There's no version that doesn't have ads. It's like $8 a month with ads or $12 a month with limited ads. Who do they think they are? Wait, is Peacock free with Amazon Prime? No, never mind. it's fucking expensive. All right, I got to think about it. For the Olympics, maybe I'll do it. The Olympics are cool. Okay. Let me catch up on this. Hold on. Let me catch up on everything, and then we'll catch up on everything, and then we'll do a poll to maybe make me watch the Pokemon Adventures fucking story. Okay. Behanort, thanks a lot. Deltarune is a video game made by Toby Fox. He had a fever dream in college about an ending to a non-existent game, and then decided he has to make a game with this ending, but first he made Undertale. Oh, it's by Undertale's creator. I know Undertale was a very, very popular little indie game. Interesting. I know Undertale was it's considered to be a really good indie game. I might play Hollow Knight at some point, because I played Hollow Knight like a little bit at one point, and it was, I'll tell you guys about Hollow Knight later, unless you guys are super interested right now. PG24, thanks for the 2. Thoughts on the Deadpool movie and the villain? I have not seen the Deadpool movie. I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it's a good time. I heard good things about it. I'm sure it's a really good, I'm sure it's a good time. Maybe I'll watch it in theaters at some point. Or not on theaters, but I'm not super motivated to go see it. I haven't seen Deadpool 2 either. I have some catching up to do. Maybe I could watch it without seeing those. I'm sure you don't need a ton of context. Javon Johnson, thanks for making a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Hey, Morj, did you ever finish TPAB? Oh, To Pimp a Butterfly. Yeah, I listened to that whole album. And have you listened to any other K-Dot since the beef ended? His whole discography is great and a joy to dissect. I've not listened to any more Kendrick since the beef ended. I did listen to all of Pimp a Butterfly. What's that crazy-ass song, if you even call it a song, that it ends on? I really, really enjoyed that. If I'm being honest, my favorites, I don't remember. So I had a couple songs I really liked towards the end, but I don't remember what they were. Because the thing that it ends on is so fucking elaborate and switches more to fucking spoken word rather than actual rap. Listening to the whole album in succession was really, really, really just changed my opinion. Not changed my opinion, but it opened my mind to what the genre really, really is. I guess, or maybe he's the only person that uses it like that, but I just thought it was really, really, really creative, artistic, etc. That being said, my favorite song, the song that I've played the most since listening to that album is just King Kunta, because it's the most, I guess, just like you could put it up, it's kind of the simplest song in that whole album, if that makes sense. The rest, there's a lot of they're emotional journeys in their own way with a lot of heavy messaging, and King Kunta's just it's just a song you can just put on, and it just, that's the only one that actually have that, and Wesley's Theory. But I know a lot of the best songs were whatever it ended on. That was fucking amazing. NeoX7, thanks for the 5. Hate Doctor Doom most likely being relegated to Tony Stark multiverse variant. Multiverse is generally such lazy storytelling to me. Missed my first super. I think I caught your first super now. I right. But I feel like multiverse storytelling is lazy when it's done the way that Marvel started using it. Because there was no need whatsoever for them to do multiverse. No need. The way they did Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, there was no multiverse, and it was clean storytelling. Go to Movie Morj. Go to the Movie Morj channel. I did a video 2 years ago breaking down, it's literally called, why Marvel is going to end soon, or not end soon, or why Marvel is going to start going downhill soon, right? This was a controversial, not controversial, but it was a hot take at that time when I dropped that video. It's a video called The End of Marvel. Go watch that. It's my highest viewed video on that channel. I predict literally, that's a fucking prophetic video. You can read that or watch that. I predict everything that's happening with the state of Marvel today. I break down, and one of the big things I talk about is them thinking that multiverse stuff is going to be good is a terrible idea, because that alienates any casual audience that they have, right? This was before the multiverse movies even started coming out. This was just me looking at the titles of upcoming movies, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Just based off of that. Oh no, actually Spider-Man had already started doing that. But Spider-Man did it well. I think Spider-Man did it well with No Way Home, or Far From, whatever the fuck it was, the crossover one, right? And then from then on, they just kept stacking it, and then it became lazy, right? It worked with the Spider-Man crossover because you're drawing on other established, fully fleshed out film storylines, both of which, right, the two other Spider-Mans that we're talking about, both of which had relatively mixed receptions to their finales, right? So they were considered good, enjoyable movies at the time, but most people don't feel happy with the way that either Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man storyline closed out, right, with Spider-Man 3, or with Andrew Garfield's second Spider-Man movie, right, Amazing Spider-Man 2. So in one fell swoop, you're essentially closing out those two while giving a lot of nice fan service, while easily telling the best storyline that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has ever had for himself with the emotional journey that he goes through. But beyond that, the multiverse just becomes lazy. I think multiverse storytelling in other contexts is amazing. I love Everything Everywhere All at Once because it actually approaches the idea of, like, what would it mean to have other versions of yourself? Like, what are the implications of that, right? Or even like a really small indie film, one of my favorites ever, Coherence. That's a really, really cool concept. You can do so much stuff with the idea of, like, alternate realities, alternate versions of yourself. The MCU doesn't do that. It does it the other way, wherein it takes, like, the idea of, like, okay, how do we make things even crazier and wackier and stuff, and, like, do lots of what ifs, and we basically just confuse the audience for, like, random cheap fan service, right? And you could argue that the Tony Stark thing is almost just that, right? It makes you feel like, with the way the MCU does it, because it's terrible, because the MCU has to rely on a feeling of stakes. Once you have a multiverse, right? One, you're confusing the audience, but more importantly, you're lessening the feeling of stakes, because it's just like this huge fight that we had to defeat Thanos and stuff, like, it's kind of meaningless because there's, like, so many other universes that now we're just hopping over to, characters are coming to and fro from, and there's other shit going on there. Why does our universe matter more than the shenanigans that happen in this other universe, right? Why does it matter more to protect this universe than the other universe? Or any of these, like, countless infinite universes or anything like that? Like, what does it all mean? Where's the sense of weight or substance to any of it at a certain point? I don't know. Multiverse is lazy when it approaches the concept as though it's like a cash grab or like a way to generate ideas when you're out of ideas. But when you approach it with the mentality that, like, this, like, I have an idea of how to use the multiverse as a concept to tell a really interesting story, that's totally different. Again, I feel like the Spider-Man, the third Spider-Man, Tom Holland one with the two other Spider-Man crossover, I think that approached it with the right mentality. Joao Jr. What if you got cast as Doctor Doom? I would take that to the bank. Not much else to say. I don't think anyone would turn that down. The Water God, thanks for the 5. Hey, Morj, do you think the Ancient Kingdom was destroyed by Pluton? Also, how the hell will the Skypians get involved in the final war? I think the Skypians might. We even got to cut to them, but I kind of hope they don't, because I feel like it would just be disrespectful to Wiper, because he's going to be power creeped at this point. He's not going to be the same Wiper that he once was. Because Wiper back then, he was toe-to-toe with Luffy, but he's just been chilling up and just not having to fight anybody or anything or train or anything, so he's going to be, like, really, really fucking weak compared to what he should be. So it's just going to be embarrassing for Wiper, so I hope the Skypians just stay up there. As for the Ancient Kingdom being destroyed by Pluton, I feel like Uranus might be a better bet, but I'm not sure. Nerve AMV Maker, thanks for the 5. Have you beaten Bloodborne yet? I dropped out of gaming for years, but the Souls games really got me back into them. I mean, in a similar vein, I really didn't play games, like, period, single-player games at least, outside of some Nintendo games for the majority of my life. And then last game, I just tried Sekiro, and then I played the Souls games, and I found I really just liked them. And I don't know if I'll like other games that are not like those, because I tried playing God of War, which everybody said was, like, a really, really good game. I did not enjoy God of War. I gave it a shot. I played it for, I don't know, like 10 hours or something. Like, not 10, but I played it through enough of the game that, like, through the entire elf level and everything, enough of the game that I was just like, yeah, this is not it for me. I feel like I've seen enough of this. This is just really, really... I'm not going to give my views and critique on God of War, because I get that it's got a lot of fans, but I realize that there's just aspects to the Souls games, the FromSoft games, Bloodborne, Sekiro, etc., that I really, really, really am addicted to. And I would say that, or at least is more engaging to me than, like, other single-player games, because the other games don't really hold my attention. I've not beaten Bloodborne yet. I am Right now, again, my guess, because I don't know, not counting DLC, I feel like I'm 75 to 80% of the way there because I just beat the one Reborn. So I don't know where that puts me exactly. I like doing all the optional stuff, except Chalice Dungeons. I'm not doing those. So I still have to do Canehurst, I know. Then right now I'm at Nightmare of Mess, whatever. And I'm going to do those. And, yeah, that's all I really know. I'm going to do that stuff, basically. I don't know what comes after that, so we'll see. But I love Bloodborne so far. Manifest Joe, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 21 months. Hey Morj, would be cool to see you try the One Piece TCG sometime. There's a free simulator you can use and a mobile app that you can learn the rules on. Also, can't wait to hear your Fire Punch take. Oh shit, I gotta go back to reading Fire Punch. I love Fire Punch so much. It's just that it's like a heady read, so it's not like a casual, you just sink into it, you know? So I think I just got to get back into it. I need to give myself a bit of a refresher. I might just have to reskim like a bunch of the previous chapters. One Piece TCG, I don't know, man. I've played TCGs in the past. I feel like I'm done with TCGs. I'm not doing those again. I'm not falling into that trap. Ali H, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 21 months. Did you see the D moniker being a symbol Joyboy made people in his crew take? Like how Fisher Tiger made his crew take the Sun brand to show unity. That could be a really good point, because people said the D could stand for like Joyboy's crew members, and the Sun Pirates, that's like a perfect example. Like the other example people often talked about is the cross that the Straw Hats put on their hands. So I could see that being a thing as well. Behanor, thanks a lot. Do you think they were at a crossroads for the movie and TV industry? Are movie successes like Inside Out 2 and now Deadpool are outliers? Because I don't know, to be honest. I watched Inside Out 2. I literally think it's the best Pixar movie maybe that I've seen. It's really, really, really good. Because Inside Out 1, it's not my favorite. It's not even close to my favorite. It's like I get it. It's a cutesy concept. It's cool. The elephant scene, that's really fucking sad from Inside Out 1. But the rest of it, I was just like, it's a cute little quirky concept, but not something that I found like a super engaging story. I think a large part of it, I didn't like the fucking main character, Joy. Inside Out 2 is very different because it takes the concept and then it applies it to things that are more so, because before it was just like basic emotions, like happy, sad, whatever. What is it even? Happy, sad, anger, like the fucking basic emotions. And it's like the message at the end of Inside Out 1 was like, oh, it's okay to feel sad sometimes. Like everyone needs sad. It's like, that's cool. That's cool for a kid's movie. Inside Out 2 is actually legitimately, it's an interesting look at how people's emotions work and what makes you you, in a sense that applies to the you that you are as an adult onwards. It's technically her as a teenager, but it's more so her shifting from that simplistic childhood phase to teenagehood and then adulthood onwards, where everything kind of is going to be more real, and the type of emotions that make up you. Some of the lines that come out of that movie are actually very hard-hitting lines for a child to hear. But it is true. As an adult, you hear those lines, and it's like, yeah, this is true. This is actually just the way life becomes, the way that life is. It's just more complicated and messy. It's a really, really, to me, Inside Out 2 actually makes full use of the concept that they had there, of just like, what if we wrote all emotions as actual individuals, and how would that look? I really like the concept of Inside Out 2, and I thought it executed really well. Yokai Gota, thanks for the 5. Everyone wants a cinematic universe now. Oh, you asked, are we at a crossroads for the movie and TV industry? I mean, crossroads is like one way you can say it. I'm just like, is it a crossroads, or is it like just a never-ending, like are we just on a trajectory? Like, is it just, do we have a divergence or something? I remember last year everyone was celebrating Barbie and Oppenheimer both being successes, and they're both more ambitious, like individually thought out movies, not just like capitalizing on franchise and stuff. Even then, like Barbie is a franchise, like not a franchise, but it's based off a very popular name brand, right? Oppenheimer is a biopic. I think even those are still gonna, like, to me, it's like, are we gonna be able to do things? Are we gonna be able to get films like that are truly purely original, right? You don't have to base it off somebody's life story. You don't have to base it off of some name brand. Like, again, if we go back to something simple, like, you know why Star Wars is so iconic in film? It's because it is this blockbuster, revolutionary sci-fi fantasy franchise that truly belongs just to film, right? Just to film. It's not based off of some books. It's not based off of some other random shit or whatever, right? It's just concocted from this filmmaker's imagination, right? You hear more and more from people in the movie industry, actors, etc., talking about how, like, it's not just that, like, films aren't even, we're so far that it's not even like studios are no longer willing to take risks on, like, truly original ideas. It's beyond that, where, like, even ideas that they're taking that they know are successful, like working with Marvel movies or like Kong, Godzilla, etc., they all have to now, like, even though it's based off of already successful shit, they have to check off certain boxes and be very, very, very cookie cutter, in a sense that, like, even if you're already having to work with established franchises, you can't even be creative in the context of working with that franchise. So it kind of sucks. It's just the way it is. PG24 says the runs to bosses in Bloodborne are fucking brutal. Dude, the one Reborn made me want to fucking tear out my hair. Because it was just, like, the boss run to that, maybe I'm fucking missing some shortcut or something there. I don't think I am, because I use the Bat Messenger teleport thing or whatever it is. And, like, the boss runs just are really bad in Bloodborne. I don't know why they are. They just are really bad. Some are easy, like Rom. Shadows of Yharnam becomes easy once you figure out all the shortcuts, but initially it's really fucking hard. But, like, yeah, a lot of the boss runbacks are just really, really fucking brutal. I will always say I'd rather just take, like, a much more difficult boss than, like, a really extensive boss run. And the one Reborn, it's just such a slow process. You got to kill the witches first and everything like that, and then get to him, and then you're stuck trying to figure him out. That really, really pissed me off. But then by the time I finished that, it was like, I like that boss. That was a good boss. It's just, as soon as you beat it, you feel really good about it. So the game always tricks you. But yeah, I don't know if there's even harder boss runs coming up, but Bloodborne is just hard, man. I do think it's the hardest of these games. I might need a little bit of time and perspective because, you know, I think when I was playing Sekiro, I was like, this game's insanely fucking hard. And then when I was playing Dark Souls, I was like, this game's harder than Sekiro. And then when I was playing Dark Souls 3, there were points in Dark Souls 3 I was like, this is hard. I think whenever you're in it, it just never gets easy. These games are always designed to be really, really fucking challenging, right? So I can't tell just yet if Bloodborne is harder than the others, but it feels like a combination of just like I thought Dark Souls 3, the traversal of levels was not too hard. I thought the traversal of levels was pretty easy, relatively speaking. I thought that Dark Souls 3, actually, the traversal of levels was lazy, practically, in terms of their level design. And then in comparison, I feel like Dark Souls 1, the traversal of levels was absolutely brutal, but the bosses were easy compared to Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. Sekiro, you were rarely, like, lost and having to really, the traversal of levels was generally the easiest there, but then every combat encounter, meaning every mini-boss and every boss, was really, really, really hard, right? So there's always some variation. I feel like Bloodborne is the first one where I feel like the traversal of levels, it feels similarly difficult to Dark Souls 1 in a sense. Maybe not quite, but, like, kind of there. And then some of the bosses, just because of the run back and situation, it's not as hard as Sekiro or Dark Souls 3, but it's definitely harder than Dark Souls 1. So maybe overall Bloodborne's the hardest. I'm not sure. It's hard to gauge. Okay, continuing. Gosh Panda, thanks for the 5. Update. Watched all 96 Morjcasts on YouTube. Made more comments if you're interested, especially the one on the World Serpent video. Addresses your concerns. Okay, how do I... For some reason, I couldn't see the comments last time. But I appreciate you watching. Holy shit, all 96. That's how many Morjcasts there are. Fuck, that reminds me. There's a Pirate King podcast. Pirate King podcast submissions are out right now. For those of you who want to get your submissions in to hear me talk about... Basically, the way Pirate King podcast works is if you want to hear... the longest form content that I do, which is an hour-plus long podcast that I do once a month. This is the week that I'm recording it. I'm going to be recording it this week. The way it works is you all submit, all Pirate King tier members on YouTube or Patreon, submit what they want me to answer in the Pirate King podcast. and I go through whatever you ask in fairly in-depth detail, much more detail than I give in streams, because streams I gotta move, like I gotta be, it's, everything's moving fast. But Pirate King podcast, I can really take my time with it, talk about it at length. I go fairly in depth. It's not just One Piece. I talk other anime. I talk movies, other manga, video games, general life, all of that. Pirate King podcast. Most people who are Pirate King members say that that's their favorite content that I do. So if you're interested in checking that out, feel free to join. New X7, thanks for the 5. Saw Fallout show. Never played the game, but the show is so good. 17 Emmy nominations, can't recommend it enough. Explores dystopia, as you said in the video. Oh, Fallout's a great show. Yeah, Fallout's a really fun show to watch. Fallout's a really fun show to watch. I watched the whole thing. I was pretty hooked after. I think it does a good job hooking you. I think it takes a little bit to really, really ramp, but even the first few episodes are fun. And I'd say it hooks you from early episodes. The first few episodes are fun, and then once it really ramps, you get really invested in the mystery and the world. I think it's a great show, and I think it's a very fun show, and the trio of main characters, I like all of them individually. Behenort, thank you so much. When it comes to games, maybe you could eventually try out Final Fantasy. Yeah, so I'll tell you right now. After I finish Bloodborne, I would like to take just a day to finish Tears of the Kingdom, because I feel bad having left that. I just had to for a little bit. But I want to finish, after I finish Bloodborne, Elden Ring, obviously. I would love to do Baldur's Gate, Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy. Those are a few that are on my list. I also want to do Demon Souls. I will probably skip Dark Souls 2. Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6, or Final Fantasy 7 are good starters, but you can really start with any of them since it's an anthology series. Okay. I could see that. I was always thinking I would start with Final Fantasy 7 and just some remade version. JWP, the patron saint of these streams, thank you for coming in with 5 gifted memberships. JWP, by far, sometimes we have people swing through and drop absolute bombs or whatever in terms of memberships, but JWP is the guy that's I don't know, man. You're just always around, always there, and the most regular patron saint of the streams. I can't imagine how many people have memberships these days because of JWP. A lot of you all just get lucky because JWP gifts you a membership, but thanks a lot, man. Seriously, I really, 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 really appreciate the support, the continued just support of the channel. And yeah, thanks a lot, man. And everybody in chat who just got a membership, say thanks. So I want to see some thanks to JWP here. Akash Panda says, use this link to go to the comment. Thank you. I'll open that up in 1 second. Hold on. Man, what did I just do? Yeah, Teeping Tom, funny name. Goku, Blue Chessy Lucci, BTB, Prophet Glutton. Everybody say thanks to JWP, seriously. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Play the remade version. Wait, should I play the remade version or not? Hi, thanks for the 2. Says, have you ever gotten into any American comics? I have the full Bone anthology on my bookshelf. I like Bone a lot. That was when I was a kid. Bone's fantastic. Bone's a really, really fun read. And it's one of those, it's kind of like One Piece in that it starts really light and kind of silly and kind of you think it's almost comedic focused. Not comedic focused, but it's just very light and silly. And there's not much, you wouldn't think that there's anything more to it. And then the further you go, it becomes very, very, very heavy fantasy. Not heavy fantasy, but not even heavy, it's not even heavy fantasy. It's very, very almost abstract fantasy, and the idea of the cosmic, the cosmos, the creation of the universe, the nature of reality itself, the idea of the dreaming that connects everything, it becomes very, very grand in its scope of ideas as the story goes on, and just feels very, very epic as things go on. But not even in a huge it gets to big armies and battles and stuff, but it's not even that. It's more so just the hidden dark fantasy elements almost that exist within it, that go more so that become more existential and everything. It's a very, very, very interesting series. I've never read anything really like Bone. In fact, it goes more even One Piece doesn't really go as, like, Bone gets a little more abstract as it goes, right? In terms of its concepts and all of that. I guess the closest it is in terms of, like, similarities to One Piece is more so in terms of how it just goes from something very simple to something much more substantial. So in that regard, it's very similar. Remix King, thanks for the 2. Friendly reminder to poll for Pokemon Adventures. And that is a great stopping point. Not stopping point, but that's a great point to do the poll because I'm just caught up on Supers. Let me get Hyo one more time real quick. Thanks for the 5. Dude, Bone is the best. Read it as a kid and would love to see it adapted, but sadly every project gets canned before anything happens. So good, though. I just don't know if you can do... I would love to see some actual Bone adaptation, but I think it's really fucking hard to nail it because it's like... If it's animated, it can't just be like cutesy kid animation because it gets so much bigger and so much more, you know, like so much more out there, you know, like it has to turn into something that's very dark and artistic, you know, while still managing to maintain a level of cartoonish whimsy. So I feel like it's hard for me to imagine how you could adapt Bone in a way that's like faithful. I don't know. The other thing I'll say is just, like, if it's live action, I think they've got no shot at doing it well. So it would have to be animated, personally. Okay, so here's the deal, right? I was going to do this Marvel tier list. I'm down to do a reaction of, it's a 52-minute long video called The Complete Story of Pokemon Adventures Part 1. I'm down to do a reaction to that. If anybody else has any other stream ideas, we can also consider those. Here, let me do the poll now. All right. Shinho Wong says, "Is it as hard as adapting One Piece or harder?" It's much harder than adapting One Piece, I think. Much harder than adapting One Piece. No, because like One Piece is an anime, so there's other anime that have done the way that One Piece has done it. I think Bone is difficult because Bone's... I feel like you need somebody with like a really, really sharp understanding of like the tone and style of Bone, and the way that it goes, because it just turns into like especially if you read some of the Bone prequel stuff, like Rose, was it Rose or Thorn or something, like it's a very dark, melancholy, almost tragic sort of storyline with, again, very out there elements, like the Lord of Locusts, the dreaming, the dragon who her dreaming created the world or something like that, if I remember. There's like a lot of it that's out there. One Piece is, at the end of the day, it's hard to adapt in the sense that it becomes, you know, to live action, One Piece is harder to adapt, right? To live action because it's so fucking long. But as an animation adaptation, I think One Piece is easier to adapt because it's just a matter of time. But ultimately, you're just animating it the same like way that you do other anime, right? Whereas with Bone, it's the concept needs to be really, really being nailed down in terms of how it would fit in terms of adaptation. Like, what's the style? Asaf S, welcome to the Supernova. Thank you for joining. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay. Okay. Marvel villains. Okay. Stream topic. And I'm sorry, this was not supposed to be the stream in the first place. The stream was supposed to be a reaction to the episode, but it's just like, you know, we didn't get the episode we thought we were gonna get. So next week's episode for sure. Okay, so Marvel villains tier list. Pokemon Adventures full summary reaction. I guess I gotta short that. I'm gonna add an option for other just in case, and then we could figure out what other might be. MPA Slick, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 21 months. Senor Morgan Freeman, I hope you've been well. My N-word. It's been a few weeks since I joined a stream due to life being a bit hectic. There goes my 2-year streak, but honestly, hope you've been good. No worries at all, man. And again, thank you for being a Pirate King tier member, because seriously, like, Pirate King tier members, I appreciate the support so much. And on top of that, don't forget, you can submit to you know, for the podcast that's coming up right this week. So No worries about missing the stream, man. If you got any thoughts or things you want me to talk about, just submit to the Pirate King submission thing, which is up right now. So just go ahead and make sure you get your thoughts in on that, because I'll be recording that fairly soon. So yeah, and anybody else that wants to get in on the Pirate King podcast and get their submissions in, I do respond to every single person there. But thank you very much, MPA Slick. I have been doing well. And again, thanks for the support for 21 months. That is fucking insane, man. I do appreciate it so much. New X7, thank you for the 10. Superman 2025 mentioned last stream isn't a game. It's a movie being directed by James Gunn. Oh, that movie. Wait, isn't that something Superman? Is it called Superman Legacy or something? Or am I crazy? But would love to see you do reactions to games you don't want to play, but story is amazing and intriguing. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, like games I don't want to play. Like, there's a lot of those that wouldn't be my thing. A lot of them would probably be shooters. But I'd have fun reacting to. So I could see that. I could do that. Hiyo, thanks for the 5. Last bone-related comment, but Manga Morj video about bone eyes. Feel like you really have something to say. I would have to reread all of Bone from the start to really have something substantive to talk about. And it's been a minute since I've read Bone. So, but it would be a fun read. It would definitely be a fun read. Okay, so it seems tight between the two. It looks like I'm supposed to stick with the Marvel villains tier list. That is what people showed up for. Is there a different type of tier list that people would rather me do? Jolly D. Joestar says make the poll members only. The problem is that, like, we've had between JWP, 02657, and Sheriff Lafitte, we've had so many gifted memberships in the last few weeks, last month, that who is and isn't a member is pretty much totally random at this point. Uwu, big surprise, the stream topic should be aliens. Shinho Wong says, we won't remember much of the villain Marvel movie tier list anyway. Thanos is default by number 1. Yeah, Legacy and New Legacy. I see what you're saying. Prince Germa says, for the Warlords, baby. Okay, I don't know. Marvel Army, let's go. Cinema's going down. Okay. Lilligant Master 87 says, repoll with only 2 options. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I can do a poll again with 2 options. Here, we'll do poll again with 2 options. Poll again with 2 options. That's fair. Okay. Run it back. All right. Marvel villains tier list, or how did I phrase it last time? Pokemon Adventures summary reaction. Let's do this. And in the meantime, let me check out Akash Panda's comment. Okay, hold on. So Akash Panda said, I don't know. Dude, am I crazy? I don't see your comment here. Here, let me show you. Here, take a look. I don't see your comment. I see Virgil Hawkins. Virgil Hawkins says, even when Morj knows the right pronunciation, fate doesn't allow him to say it. It's like a One Piece character gag at this point. Oh, that's about the Jormungandr. Yeah, Koshpan, I don't see your comment. I don't see your comment, man. I don't know what happened to it. You want to just say it here? In the chat? Yusuf is saying, did Morj move again? No, it's just, this is, I've tilted my stream angle, basically. I'll tilt it back later, but this is going to be the way it is for at least this week, I think, for at least this week. Right now, my girlfriend and her dogs are staying over with me for the week, so it's just easier so that, you know, the space can be open, basically. Oh shit, this is so fucking tight. This is really tight. What if we do both? Why not do both? We could do both. We could do both. We could be quick about it. The thing is, I don't know how, like, the fact that it's so split makes me feel like I'm going to make some people unhappy with both of these. Jormungandr? It should be Jormungandr, right? Jormungandr? I think something like that. Oh, people talking about DC stuff. Hey, I'm always going to be a DC person first and foremost. And I think part of the reason I'm not big on Marvel ever, I mean, I've enjoyed Marvel like other people have, but like I've always been a DC person first and foremost. You want to just do both? Let's just do both. Let's just do both. Jordan Vance says it's not tight, just people wanting to troll. That's true. I don't know how many people actually want to watch the complete summary of Pokemon Adventures. But I could, I don't know. We could try it, see what happens. Yeah, try it, see what happens. All right, let's do the first thing first, right? The thing that was planned. We'll do the actual tier list. Let's do the tier list first because that's what we had planned. All right. Wait, could we do a Pokemon tier list? Could we do a Pokemon? Well, no, I guess Pokemon tier list is stupid because I don't know enough about Pokemon. You know, I kind of just know the things I know from my childhood watching Pokemon, and that was probably just the first 150 or so. You know. Let's see here. All right, we can do the tier list quick. It's not gonna be a hard tier list, right? It's gonna be an easy tier list. Oh fuck, what did I do here? What have I done? Okay, there we go. All right. Oh my god, why is there so many of them? Fuck, I don't even know who a lot of these are. Who are these people? I don't know who the fuck this is or this. I guess. Oh yeah, we got a tier for that. Who's that? Okay, let me just get rid of this shit. Don't remember this. Didn't see this. I don't know what this is. No, we're only doing main villains, not side villains. This is like some subordinate. Why is Thanos on here twice? I haven't seen this. I mean, I guess people can vote on this. But I haven't seen it, so it doesn't really matter, right? I don't know a lot of these fuckers. Who are these people? Is this Justin Hammer? No. Okay, there we go. Don't remember you. Is this Tobey Maguire? Who is that? Fuck, what have I seen? Have I not seen anything? Who are these people? Okay, here we go. All right, Dormammu. Let's get to you. We're just doing main villains. I haven't seen this. Why am I keeping Killmonger then? Get out of here. All right. What the fuck is this? Is this from TV shows and shit at this point? Is this Worf? There we go. Now we're at characters I know. Yep. This is just a random terrorist. Only main characters here. We're just doing main characters. Nope. Oh, wait. You were a main character. My bad. Like, main villains. This is some dragon. Don't know what to say about that. Oh, this is probably Shang-Chi, actually. Right? Didn't watch this. Who is this? Oh, this is the Vulture. Vulture, you weren't the main villain. Why is Green Goblin on here twice? Okay, here we go. Oh, I see. It's just including all the Marvel stuff. All right. No, come on. We're sticking to MCU. Just MCU. Here we go. The Destroyer's not really a main villain. Nope. No. Aren't these two like the same? Oh, no, never mind. Here we go. Now we got a nice short. Who is this person? Who? Alright, guys. I'm not equipped to do a Marvel. Why the who's that is so much longer than the list of people I know. Although, to be fair, a lot of these are... I know a lot of these characters. I'm just not going to do subordinates, you know? Like, I'm not going to do... Wait. And I'm only doing Marvel movies, right? So, like, a lot of these I know. Like, I know these guys are subordinates. A lot of these are repeats, like Thanos again. This guy... Oh, no. He was the main villain of Civil War. I got to put him back, right? This was the main Civil War villain, I think. Yeah, a lot of these are guys I know. So, subordinates not included. Movies I haven't seen not included. And let's just kick this stuff to the top. Let's get it out of here. Get it out of here. It doesn't need to be here. All right. Yeah, so we can move this list along pretty well. All right. Good shit. All right. People are like, this is like 3 movies. No, it's not. No, it's not. All right. All right, here we go. Here we go. Killmonger is a main villain. Yeah, but I didn't see Black Panther. So it's not a main villain to me. It's in my eyes as a main villain. No. Why not Mysterio? Because I didn't see that one. I didn't see it. I call Civil War's villain Tobey Maguire. No, wasn't this guy Civil War's villain? I thought it was this guy. Civil War's villain was just some dude. I remember it was just some dude. So that's why I thought it was that guy. But you're telling me it was Tobey Maguire, which is this guy? Which one was Civil War's villain? Was it this guy? Or was it this guy? Alright, we'll just go with what you said. We'll say this is here. Wait, why is this guy here? I don't know who this is. Who is this? Get out of here. Alright. There we go. Alright, okay, hold on. I've seen plenty of Marvel movies. Hold on. Okay, all Marvel cinematic movies. Let's see. What have I seen? What have I actually seen? Alright. What have I actually seen? I've seen plenty, okay? Iron Man, the villain from this, I'm pretty sure I got it. Right? I got the Iron Man villain, this guy. I got the Hulk villain. I got Loki, right? I got Thor 2. Where's the Thor 2 villain? Thor 2. I got Captain America's dudes. I got plenty of villains. I got this dude from Iron Man 3. Guardians of the Galaxy, I got that guy with the hammer, Ronan. Yeah, I got Ronan. Avengers Age of Ultron, we got Ultron in there. Ant-Man, didn't see that. Civil War, we got Tobey Maguire. Doctor Strange, I got Dormammu. Guardians Volume 2, I got that guy. Spider-Man Homecoming, isn't that the Vulture? I got the Vulture. Thor Ragnarok, I got Hela. Black Panther, didn't see. Avengers Infinity, didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp. Didn't see Captain Marvel. Yeah, this covers it. I've seen a lot. Okay, so I've seen, like, you guys are getting on my case. I've seen like 90% of Phase 3, right? From all of Phase 3, the only ones I'm missing are, I've seen everything here. I've seen, yeah, I didn't see Ant-Man. And I started losing interest overall around here. I didn't see the second Spider-Man. I didn't see Captain Marvel. I didn't see Black Panther. So out of all of Phase 3, I've only missed 4 movies, right? That's pretty good. I've seen most of them, right? So maybe not 90%, but like the vast majority. Okay, here we go. I'm qualified. We've checked my credentials. I'm qualified. Timothy McQueen, thanks for the 5. The one day you stream and have time off, you're not covering One Piece. I'm so sorry, man. Also, you didn't see Guardians 3. It's the best MCU movie by far. I've heard good things about Guardians 3, but I think I just didn't. I'm just so done with I'm not interested in the newer Marvel movies, period. The only one I've seen post-Endgame is Spider-Man, No Way Home. I forget why. I think I watched that on a plane. But I thought that was really good. I actually really liked that one. So, I could believe... Wait, that shit was Phase 5? What do you mean that was Phase 5? What's the difference between Phase 4 and Phase 5? How are these different? You can't just call something a new phase. Look at this. Phase 1 ends with the Avengers, right? There's like a logic to it. It's all build up, ends with the Avengers, big movie, right? Ends with the Avengers, right? Big crossover moment. Phase 2, technically it ends with Ant-Man, but the concluding moment was Avengers Age of Ultron, right? Ant-Man was the small thing that came out after it. Similar to how Phase 3, the concluding thing was Endgame, and then sort of the denouement included Spider-Man Far From Home, right? But we are at the conclusion right here with Avengers Age of Ultron, right? So there's a logic to it, and it makes sense the direction it's going, because Phase 1, it's all build up and set up and bringing things together. Phase 2 is kind of, because it's the second act, right? It's kind of tearing things down. So Iron Man kind of retires from being Iron Man here. He learns his lessons, etc. Captain America, Shield goes down, all of that's broken up, etc. So there's like a lot of chaos going on there. Avengers Age of Ultron, it kind of concludes with like creating some level of like tension for the future, right, among the group and everything like that, right? And then phase 3 is basically everything coming together, a lot of storylines, yada yada yada. Shit gets rough with Civil War and all of that stuff, but it all comes together with everyone coming together for Infinity War and Endgame and all that shit, right? Like there's a logic to the end to each of these phases. Phase 4, it's just movies. It's just random movies. How are these connected? What's the conclusion? What's the concluding point? What's the climax? Was it Black Panther? Wakanda Forever? The movie that didn't even fucking have Black Panther? I know it wasn't Thor Love and Thunder because everybody said that one was ass. Was it Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Like, what's the logic to this being what's the logic to this being a phase? Can anyone explain this to me? Why is this a phase? Can you guys see my screen? Am I screen sharing right now? You guys understand what I'm saying? Am I screen sharing? You guys can see what I'm saying, right? Why is this a phase? Why does Black Panther conclude a phase? Why is this the start of a new phase? Isn't this the one that set up Kang? So at the very least, you would put this at the end of this phase to conclude that phase with the setup for Kang? They're on to phase 6? They're already planning phase... What does a phase mean anymore? What's a phase? What are they talking about? How do they pick? What's the difference between the phase 5 ending with Deadpool and Wolverine versus ending with like Captain America versus ending with Thunderbolts? What are the phases? Is it just like a certain number of movies? Is it a certain number of years? How did it take them this long, too, to figure out that, like the first stuff, it ended, right? Phase 3 ended in 2019. Holy shit. So how did it take them 6 fucking years to figure out, like, some more Avengers crossover? 7 years! 7 years before Avengers Doomsday. How did it take them 7 years? What have they fucking been doing? What have they been doing? What are they doing? Am I fucking insane? Isn't this like a fucking billion-dollar company? Isn't this Walt Disney? Not billion-dollar, like multi-billion-dollar company, right? Isn't this Walt Disney? Don't their movies make like $1 billion all the time, though? What? So you're telling me that 7 years is all of this? Was this all of this building up to this? No, because this is the moment they started building up to Kang, which they had to scrap. Which still means that they had 4 years of just sitting on their asses before they started being like, wait, maybe we should start setting up for something new. So they had no plan? Or not even no plan. It's like, it's fine if they didn't have a plan post-Endgame. Like, they should have had a plan, but like, you know, you have to put so much effort into closing out the phase as is, right? But what this means is that it took them literally 6 years before they started planning a new plan. So they just coasted for the next several fucking, like, next half decade without a plan. And then it took them 6 years before they were like, okay, now we should start thinking of a new plan. Isn't that crazy? These aren't phases. There's no logic to any of this. There's no flow. There's not building to anything. And then when they fucking started, like, they did a whole fucking phase 4, without building to anything. Then they start a new phase where they're finally like, phase 5 is where they're like, okay, now we're going to start building to something. Which leaves me wondering, like, what was the point of phase 4? Why even have this phase exist if you're going to skip this phase as essentially all filler? And then phase 5 is when you start building to something. And the thing that they were building to, they then had to scrap. And so now you got to wait this long before you get to the next thing, which is going to be Tony Stark's shit, like Robert Downey Jr. shit. This is insane. I see, like, if they're trying to milk shit, I get it, right? They're trying to milk it. But you've got so much money and so many people involved and so many executives. Wouldn't you try to milk it intelligently? Right? Like, wouldn't you try to come up with, like, some sort of procedure, like some flow to, like, you know, like, look how we made so much money off of this. How do we do that again? You know, I could at least respect that. But instead, they made so much money, and then they were like, okay, so now we just freestyle, and we don't have to do anything ever again. Is that what they thought? Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 2. DC has better mages, teams, factions, X-Men carry. Look, man, I just prefer DC heroes. That's just my thing. I like Batman and Superman. Call me lame, but that's just the way it is. I grew up watching Justice League Unlimited, Teen Titans. I'm always shocked by, like, I was always shocked to learn how popular Marvel was growing up, like more popular than DC, because to me growing up, me and my generation, I figured, didn't we all grow up with, there was no Marvel on TV. It was all, you know, Batman, Superman, Justice League, Teen Titans, even Young Justice for people a little bit after my age group. So I'm always shocked when I learned that, like, no, like, Marvel was more popular even during that time. Maybe DC could have taken over once my generation grew up, and then we were the ones kind of like buying comics and stuff like that. But by that point, Marvel had started taking over in terms of movies, which meant that, like, as my generation grew up, the movies kind of still swayed people back over to Marvel. So, I don't know. Akash Panda, thanks for the 2. Recommented. If it doesn't show, just give up. Okay. Thanks, man. Let me take a look. I'm sorry, man. Why is it not? Hold on. Let me just copy this.
Everyone, so we're talking about...
There we go. Okay. I don't see it, man. Can't you just comment it here? You could just comment it here. I'm sorry, man. It's just not showing up. I didn't realize it was opening up all these extra tabs here. Okay, moving along. Let's get back to the stream. I'm not trying to compare Marvel and DC because I'm just not versed enough in... like, I know enough about comics that I can talk at length about it, but I'm nowhere near, like, an actual comic... like, I can talk about what I like, dislike, the storylines that I know, but I know the main stuff, right? If you want to go deeper than the main stuff, I'm not an expert. And I've never read Marvel comics, really. I've only really sat down to read DC comics. Like, that was one of my favorite things when I was a kid, going to Barnes & Nobles. This was back when Barnes & Nobles would have, like, chairs and, like, nicer setups, like comfy couches that you can sit in. I like going to Barnes & Nobles, going to the DC section, and just pulling out Batman comics or Justice League comics. And then eventually, like, Batman, Superman comics, stuff like that. JWP, thanks for the 2. Phase 4 is complete. Ass LMAO. Hard Spider-Man carry. Yeah, I gotta say, like, the Spider-Man movie was amazing. I mean, no, like, genuinely, I thought Spider-Man No Way Home, I think that's, like, a top-tier Marvel movie ever, for sure, for me. Chino Wong says DC rules the 80s and 90s movies more. Yeah, that's true in that, like, there was an era where DC was better at the movies, but it never dominated, like, Marvel. Like, from the 2010s on, Marvel just ruled cinema, and everything's trying to catch up to Marvel. When DC was on top in terms of movies, it was on top relative to Marvel, like, in terms of superhero stuff, but it was just one thing amongst many other blockbusters, right? Like, in fact, at that point in time, nothing really ruled movie making in terms of blockbusters. There was a variety of things that could come out, right? Like Star Wars, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Superman. I believe the first Superman came out in, like, 1978 or something. And the second Superman came out in 1980. 1978, and then second one came out in 1980. Yeah. And this was like a really good time for movies, right? Like Jaws release date, 1975, right? Like Indiana Jones probably around the same time here. This whole Jurassic Park probably somewhat later. Sorry, but it's all in that range where you can call it an era. It's like the era of the blockbuster, right? I'm trying to remember the eras of film, but like from 1970 something onward, 1970 something or onwards, like I think it was New Hollywood era, and then after that, kind of the blockbuster era took over, and that was the period of time where, like, film blockbusters could really be original, right? Like a Jaws, or, like, you know, even once you hit the 90s, like The Matrix and stuff like that, Star Wars earlier, etc. So it was once we hit the 2000s that they really realized, you can see it in eras, in the 2000s they really realized that, okay, the easiest way to get consistent success is drawing upon existing source material. So we got Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Hunger Games. Those are the things that kind of ruled that next decade and a half or so, right? Which is still good. Like, you still got a lot of good movies out of those. Like, Lord of the Rings are fucking phenomenal. The Harry Potter movies are good. you're still getting good movies out of that. I'd say like Pirates of the Caribbean is probably the most original franchise that came out of there. Like, you could say it's based off a theme park, but like, who gives a fuck if it's based off a theme park ride, right? But that was like that era, and then it shifted into Marvel, because Marvel kind of took things one step further, where it was like, what if it's not just drawing upon like existing source material to go in order, like a sequel after sequel, but it's like, what if you can, it's all, right? Like, what if you can draw upon so much source material that it's beyond just like a linear set of movies that people will watch, but it's like you can have pillars. So it's like you can have Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, and Captain America 1, 2, and 3, and Thor 1, 2, and 3, and these are all happening in one set, right? So it goes from like linear to like sets. That's what a cinematic universe is. It's essentially a set of films that are all together, right? So it's stacking. So it's stacking interest, because it's like you can watch trilogies, you can watch sequels, prequels, etc., and all of these are all connected as well. So you just have like it's the golden goose, in that, you know, the fucking Hunger Games, they run out after X number of books. Harry Potter runs out after 7 books. Lord of the Rings runs out after 3 books. Comics, it's infinite, and there's so many books and so many storylines to draw from, and it can all be together. So they're all feeding off one another in terms of like viewers' interest. So it's just a natural evolution of what makes money in terms of filmmaking, right? You have the early era, like you have pre-Blockbuster, which is New Hollywood era, so like 1970 somethings before and prior, right? Then you have the Blockbuster era, where now it's like, okay, really big movies like a Jaws, a Jurassic Park, that's what's really going to draw people to cinema, right? And that's like, I would call this more the era where there's more original blockbusters. Yeah, you have an odd Superman, Batman, etc., right? But you still have a Star Wars, you still have Indiana Jones, you still have more original shit that's happening. It's a nice mix. The Matrix, all of this, it's a beautiful mix, right? Then you hit a point where it's kind of like, okay, well, what's consistently, regularly working? And that's like as the 2000s start, and it's like, okay, adaptations from known materials where we can get not just one movie out of it, but we can do trilogies or series, right? That's what really works. That's when they're figuring that out. It's like, if we do adaptations where we know we can get a lot of bang for our buck, because we'll have an existing audience source because it's an adaptation, and 2, we can make follow-up films that'll keep growing this money pot, right? So that's what happens in the 2000s when you get your young adult adaptations, fantasy book adaptations, shit like that. Still the odd, more original franchise here or there, like Pirates. I guess you could even count the movie Avatar, although that's really just a one-off for that period of time, right? And then finally you hit the 2010s era, where it's just like Marvel kind of cracked the code, and it's like not just adaptations, but adapting like a shit ton of storylines that are all connected, and that way everybody can keep watching all of these sequels that will tie into this and that and that and that and that, and there's just endless source material to work on, right? Anyway, Edson Alon's Pirates of the Caribbean is loosely based on a book. I didn't know that, but that's cool to find out. Anyway, moving on. Let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. I got to do this tier list real quick too. JP, thanks for the 20. What you're seeing is not what they originally planned. They shifted around things. Phase 4 to 5. Okay, JP is dropping some serious knowledge on us. And thanks for the 20 again. Seriously, man. Phase 4 to 5 suffered as a result in terms of cohesiveness. They added a ton of independent storylines loosely connected via theme of multiverse. Okay, so the theme here is multiverse. I guess that kind of makes sense. What did they originally plan then? What was the original plan? I know this is multiverse. This is multiverse. Is that really a multiverse theme? Was this multiverse? Was this multiverse? I guess you got 2 of them. I guess you can call that a theme. Yeah, I guess so. But why is there no sense of conclusion? What did they originally plan? Like, do you know what was originally planned? What were they actually shooting for? Because I remember still, I don't know if that's not, like, I remember still there was a point when this was kind of closing out, and they released, like, their slate of films for the near future, and I think it was all these movies. I feel like they had all these movies already planned. Like, I specifically remember seeing this is what I put into that movie Morj video, a slate of all of their films that they had planned out for all of Phase 4, and it seemed like this was what they had in mind, you know? I get that they pivoted to Kang at some point, and they're like, okay, Kang's going to be our new thing, but that they didn't even end Phase 4 with that. if anything, kind of makes sense to end Phase 4 with something like that, setting up the next villain, kind of like how Phase 1 at least ended with setting up Thanos, right? This is why I think doing RDJ as Doctor Doom is the smartest move, because it's like, I'm gonna be real, Kang would never have caught on the way Thanos did. It's just, you've lost the casual audience too much. RDJ as Doctor Doom works because it's the only way to get the sort of Thanos level name recognition again, because one, Doctor Doom is obviously a very known character, but really Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark, he was Marvel, right? So you're just capitalizing on that again, right? Everybody, casual, not casual, etc., knows this dude is Marvel. So it's the only way to really match. Like, Thanos at least had to build to that level of recognition, but he got there, right? With this, you're getting that just coming in right off the bat, which is like, the villain of this next whole Avengers phase is going to be fucking Tony Stark, right? Tony Stark's the villain. Cool. That works, you know? It's not necessarily going to be good or well-written or whatever, but in terms of just making a splash and people being aware of it and knowing about it, it's going to work. I mean, just the reveal alone immediately became like one of the most viewed videos ever. It broke like all sorts of immediate viewership numbers or something like that. I don't know. It works. It makes sense. Kang was never going to be that guy just because you've lost the plot here at this point, right? Like, you're just freeballing, and viewers aren't as interested, and you're not putting in the same amount of time to set things up. Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is the only way to get back to that Thanos level of interest without having to do the setup right. Because the setup, they technically did it, not with consciously, but they technically did it through phases 1 to 3 with Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark already being the centerpiece, the linchpin that tied all of Marvel together. So they're capitalizing on setup that they already did back when they were doing a good job with phase 1, 2, 3, right? So it's the only way to have another villain and another storyline like that where you've got the setup already done for the casual audience because you did it the first time around. Not because they're doing anything good new, but it'll probably work better than Kang. PG24, thanks for the 2. GF and dog reveal when, Morj? Let's just say not today. Who knows? Not today, though. JWP, thanks for the 5. Marvel went bankrupt in the late 90s and was saved because of Spider-Man and X-Men becoming super duper popular. Oh, I did not know that. Wait, in the late 90s, wasn't Spider-Man and X-Men always super duper popular? Or do you mean like the TV shows? Or do you mean like the movies? Because the movies, I know, like in the early 2000s, they started picking up. JWP, thanks for the 5. Also, Iron Man was a huge risk because Marvel was banking on a movie being a success, and Iron Man was not super popular. He was a B-tier hero at best. This is what I try to explain to people. People legitimately don't remember. I remember when I first saw the trailer for Iron Man. I believe it was during a Super Bowl commercial. I believe it was during a Super Bowl when we saw the trailer for Iron Man. It was me and some friends. And it's really fucking hard to explain to people now because they just won't get it. Iron Man, the comic character, really was like B-tier hero. I don't even know if that's like the right way to put it, because it's just like I used to view, like, remember, comics, anime, all of that stuff, nerd culture, it was never nearly as popular as it is today. This is all new. This is a new world we're living in, okay? In the era where comics were not as big of a thing, right? Like actually reading comics, Iron Man was never successful in the mainstream eye, period. He and Thor, they were, like, B tier, I think, is almost an exaggeration. Almost. Because, how do I put it like this? Among comic book readers, Iron Man would be considered a B tier hero. In the general public verse, I would say, like, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, those are the heroes everybody knows. Probably, like, Flash, Wonder Woman, etc. Then I think if you go, like, a half step down, that's when you're hitting, like, characters that, like, the general public probably knows, but like I could probably ask one of my friend's moms and she might not know who like Green Lantern is, right? Like, she probably, yeah, when I was young, they wouldn't know who like Green Lantern is or something, but maybe some people will, some people won't. Green Lantern, in my mind, when I was growing up, was like a B tier hero by the standards of the general populace, right? Broad public consciousness. Iron Man would be a fucking C tier hero at the time that I was growing up, in that I don't know who the fuck would know who Iron Man is, unless you actually read comics or you watched that shitty-ass Marvel animated show that I think that nobody really watched. Yeah. And then they took him and they just reinvented. I don't think Tony Stark in the comics is even really like what Robert Downey Jr. did with him. So Iron Man as a hero is a really interesting concept because, like, He's the only one that got really popular, but is not similar to, like, he got popular as a movie character, not as a comic character. His movie, like the Iron Man, the movie character is almost so far removed from his status as a comic book character, it's hard to even explain. The Avengers were not popular. The Justice League was the thing that like people would reference, right? Like if you're like any sort of joining of like super important characters would be like, oh, this is like the Justice League of the NBA or something like that. Like if the Celtics are forming back then in 2008, I'm sure back then people would have been saying like, oh, they're fucking making the Justice League or something, or the Miami, but like over time that's shifted to the Avengers being the premier thing that people think of. It took a long time to get there. The Avengers were not known like that. Not only were the Avengers not the most well-known comic superhero team, they weren't even the most well-known Marvel superhero team. It was X-Men, and that was kind of Marvel's premier superhero team. Then maybe like the Fantastic Four, and then you go like 3 steps down, and then there's people that know what the Avengers are, you know? There's a lot of people who would, like the casual public audience in like 2002 would not have known what the Avengers are. Everyone knew everyone knows the name the Justice League though. BB, thanks to the 5. The Kang actor beat up his girlfriend and lost a lawsuit, I think, and instead of recasting, they pivoted to Doom. I did know I knew there was a bunch of controversy around the Kang actor. I knew it went back and forth. I don't know the whole story or the details. I get that there was controversy, but I still wouldn't call this, like what they were doing here, a real plan. Because it's just like, what the fuck is all this? Like, this is all just random nonsense. Because even if that was the plan, you still didn't conclude a phase here. There's no flow to this phase, right? There's nothing that happened. Like, what's the flow to this phase? You're introducing the multiverse, yes, but then wouldn't this be the conclusion to it? Right? This is the closeout of the phase. Is it just because they want the phases to close out cleanly, like year by year? So they're like, well, this one, it's happening in 2023, therefore it can't be part of phase 4, because that's dumb. Because this is clearly where you're setting up the next villain and everything like that, and you're kind of tying everything together. Like, why have we been involved in the multiverse? Oh, it's to set up a multiversal threat here, right? Otherwise, this is just stuff. Is this phase 4 just like the random bullshit phase? Is that what it's called? Anyway. Timothy McQueen, thanks for the 10. Kang was going to be the villain from the start, but Feige was pressured by Disney to announce projects he did not plan to produce. Why? Wait. After the Kang actor scandal, they've needed a new villain. Why was Feige pressured by Disney to announce projects he did not plan to introduce? What does that mean? Thank you, Timothy McQueen. That is very helpful, though. What do you mean he was pressured to produce? Was he pressured to produce the Eternals? Who's clamoring for that? I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home, that's a fucking no-brainer. It makes sense. And it plays into the multiversal stuff. Doctor Strange too. Like, also, like, was he pressured to produce Thor: Love and, like, whose ideas were these? Edson Alon, thanks for the 5. Iron Man became the face of Marvel movies because Marvel sold their popular IP/movie rights, X-Men, Spider-Man, etc., early on to avoid bankruptcy. That's actually a really good point because it's a consequence of the situation. That's a really, really, really good point. I see what you're saying. So they were going bankrupt. They sold X-Men and Spider-Man. Popular movies were made off of those because Marvel couldn't make good movies itself at that point in time. But, like, you know, other studios like Sony was able to capitalize off Spider-Man really well, and Fox with X-Men and everything. Then Marvel gets their shit together, right? And it's like, what if we actually try our hand at making movies well, right? And it's not like they got nothing, because they've got the Incredible Hulk to work with. Hulk was probably the second or third most popular superhero from Marvel at that point in time, right? Like, if you ask somebody off the bat, like, can you recognize these heroes? Spider-Man, obviously. Hulk and Wolverine would probably be tied for next most recognizable among Marvel heroes at that point in time. Then you get to, like, Captain America or some shit. I don't know. This is just back in the day. This is my childhood, before Marvel Movie Mania really picked up, right? But I guess they had to work with what they had, right? So they're like, okay, we've got the Hulk, we've got Captain America, we've got Iron Man, we got Thor. We got to fucking make lemons out of lemonade, right? Although the Hulk, I think, funnily enough, I think Hulk was the best asset that they had at that point in time. And that was the one that they fucked up the hardest, I think. Like, out of these, in my personal opinion, out of these origin movies, I think Hulk was probably the worst one. And it's funny that they've recasted everything about it. I genuinely view this one as not canon at this point in time, although it has the iconic post-credit scene that really kicked off the idea of a cinematic universe. Anyway, yeah, and even Iron Man, like, you're talking about the like, it's the result of just the consequence of the situation that they gotten themselves into, and that they had to make Iron Man and all of that shit work. And therefore, like, normally if they're trying to kick off a cinematic universe and they have that idea, they would probably try and lead with a Spider-Man or something, or X-Men and the Wolverine, or Wolverine and X-Men, right? But they had to deal with what they had, the cards that they'd left. And they fucking killed it, right? Like, they took Iron Man, who was nothing, and they were just like, wait, because he's nothing, because it's a blank slate, we can do whatever the fuck we want with this. And they created, like this Bruce Wayne-esque, well, I mean, I guess that is what Tony, like, they just made the cool parts of Tony Stark, and they got Robert Downey Jr. to play himself in many ways. And here's the coolest part about all of this, which is that, like, Marvel was dealing with a shit hand that they dealt themselves, so they backed into a corner, right? So they were in a tough spot. They had to deal with what they had. And then Robert Downey Jr., he had all sorts of controversy in the previous decades or whatever with, like, he was considered damaged goods as an actor, etc. So it's a melding of, like it's kind of like an NBA team, right? That, like, is in a really bad spot and it's got itself in a bad spot, and then it sees a player that's actually, like, a really valuable player if you think about it, but he just has too much controversy going on around him. Like, let's say Kyrie Irving or something like that. And it's just like, hey, will you play for us? Because, like, you got nowhere else to go, right? And we're trying to make something happen here. And he's like, fuck it, I'll do that. And it's just like, okay, come on. And then suddenly things really work out, you know? It's just a perfect, perfect storm of events, right? It's interesting. BB, thanks for the 5. Disney's new CEO at the time wanted Phage to push out more stuff, including TV shows at a quicker pace, until the CEO got replaced by Iger again. Bob Iger, I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay, I mean, yeah, that's just Disney being dumb and Disney. That makes sense. That makes sense. JP, thanks for the 20. Holy shit, man. Thank you so much. Seriously. Going off today. Thank you. Phase 4, I believe, was going to have 3 independent sorts of arcs. One focusing on magic like Wanda. One focusing on more realism stuff like Black Widow/Falcon. And Shang-Chi and Eternals for big space. And then Phase 5 to begin connecting all of those. I actually really like that. Holy shit. That's actually a really cool concept. That's actually pretty cool. That's thought out. That is really cool. I like that shit. That's a cool idea. Too bad it just seems like a mess in the end. All right. Chino Wong says, not all Sony Spider-Man movies outdo RDJ's Iron Man movies. My opinion, okay, so evaluating the original Iron Man movie, I'll say, is always going to be very, very difficult, because the original, at the time that it came out, was groundbreaking. I remember it came out the same year as The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight was clearly the better movie, because it's the better movie, right? It's one of the best movies that I've seen, period. Probably The Dark Knight's probably the best, like, crime thriller that I've ever seen, if I'm being honest. Forget, like, superhero movies. But Iron Man was the most, like, it's almost two opposite ends of the spectrum, and that Dark Knight did this really serious, dedicated filmmaker's approach to more so using the superhero concept to tell a much more actual cinematic, like, real attempt at filmmaking, right? Just that Batman happened to be the muse for what he's doing there, and Batman's the only superhero that kind of works for that context, right? Iron Man was different in that it kind of just took the idea of superhero stuff, and it was just like, what if we just be really, really, like fresh, like, kind of light, irreverent, snappy, quick-witted main character. I'll always say, like, it's kind of almost taking, like, the Jack Sparrow approach. I feel like Jack Sparrow was the prototype to the kind of archetype hero that Iron Man became, right? This sort of Jack Sparrow approach to a superhero, and just this irreverent, tongue-in-cheek vibe to everything, all of that. Like, it was very groundbreaking for its time. Not Dark Knight level, but it says something that it came out the same year as Dark Knight, which I think most would agree is probably the best film that's come out ever that happens to be a superhero that happens to feature a superhero. I think most would agree, filmmaking wise, that's the best one. It says something that Iron Man came out the same year as a Goliath like The Dark Knight, and it held its own and made its own space in that year as its own thing. It's really fucking hard to compare the Iron Man movie to something like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, because Iron Man, it worked so well, the concept that they used, they then copy-pasted it, 26 times over? To the point that basically it no longer feels as fresh and original what they originally did, right? So it's kind of like, if I'm thinking right now, what do I think is a better movie? I think maybe I think Spider-Man 2 is a better movie than Iron Man, because like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2, I think that's a better movie than Iron Man, because I think it just aims to tell it commits to telling a dramatic story, like a dramatic character story with the ups and downs, etc. Whereas Iron Man is this, tongue-in-cheek, doesn't take itself too seriously, Marvel type thing, like all the way through. Yeah, it's got a character arc and a good character arc and everything like that, but it's heavily focused on its comedy and like just feeling, less like we're not taking this so seriously, that whole thing, right? It's just that this doesn't, like, at the time, this was so original, now it's not. It's really hard to compare the two. Because at this moment, again, I'd say Spider-Man 2 better than Iron Man. But at that point in time, I'd say Iron Man was like maybe the second best superhero movie I'd ever seen after The Dark Knight. Because it was just really that good and that new and that fun at that point in time. Like, you felt like it would, like, like, I've seen Iron Man, because it would come on like cable and stuff like that plenty of times. I've seen Iron Man many a time, because it's just one of those where, like, if you're fucking scrolling through channels or whatever and Iron Man was on, at any point in, like, from 2008 to 2012, if I was just flipping channels and Iron Man happened to be on, you could drop in at any point and it's like a fun-ass movie to watch. So it's hard to say. Like, I think this movie, Iron Man's almost underrated now, because it's just been imitated so many fucking times over. It's just the same, they use the same framework for everything here. Everything. JWP, thanks for the 5. Everyone always talks about Heath Ledger's Joker, but Two-Face in that movie is fucking amazing also and isn't talked about enough. Yeah, it's just, I mean, one, I think part of it is that Two-Face, Harvey Dent, he gets a very small amount of time that he gets to actually be the villain Two-Face, and his role as the villain is much more, like, Joker's doing all this big stuff. Two-Face really only has, like, a few scenes as the villain, and they're much more small scale and much more targeted towards, like, Batman, Commissioner Gordon. And it feels like the main climax of the movie is defeating Joker, etc., and then the Two-Face scene is, it's just, he does a really good acting performance. You just can't beat Heath Ledger's Joker, and then on top of that, his time as a villain is just so protracted, it's hard to match, The storyline of Harvey Dent being the grounding storyline of the movie is really, really important, though. JWP's Bane and Scarecrow are also peak in those movies. I think Bane is a great performance. I think it is. It's not like Heath Ledger level, but almost nothing is. And Scarecrow is good too, yeah. Danhord, thanks a lot. At this point, I'm hoping that either a new cinematic universe replaces MCU, like League's upcoming shows, or who knows, maybe One Piece live action becomes the biggest thing in Hollywood, LMAO. I'm coping, I know. I think the One Piece live action has a ton of potential, as long as they don't fuck it up. I hope that Oda is as involved in like the second season as he was in the first season, because I have a feeling that left to their own devices, the writers will not do a great job. I think it's the fact that Oda was so involved in season 1 that made sure that it's good. And I remember, I might be crazy, but I think that they had to reshoot or redo some things because Oda wasn't happy with it yet. And that says a lot. Okay, let's do our actual topic. Let's do the topic. We're doing the topic. I'm going to say, look, I mean, are we doing like what I like or what the people like? I'm just going to do this. S, A, B, C, D. I personally put Loki in B. I don't think Loki was that good. I think that everybody really loves Loki, and it always confuses the fuck out of me, because, I don't know, I just don't, like, he's not, like, sorry, dogs are out and stuff right now. He's not, like, I still don't even fucking understand why they made him the villain of the Avengers movie. He's just not intimidating in any sense whatsoever. he's a character that, like, at a certain point, fucking Captain America was boxing with him, and this is like a Norse god, and Captain America is literally just a dude who is slightly stronger than other dudes that work out, right? So Loki, not intimidating whatsoever. I think people always praise like the acting or like what a subtle, nuanced villain he is. I don't think he's that subtle or nuanced. I don't think that the acting performance is that good. I think it's fine for like a Marvel movie, I guess. I just don't find anything partly like he's this trickster god, very cunning, scheming, but he just never comes across as like particularly entertaining, like Joker-esque to me or anything like that. He's just some dude that's kind of like a little slimy, kind of weak. I don't know. It's just I don't enjoy Loki as a villain. I thought it was really lame that he was just the main villain of the Avengers movie because I'm just like, it's essentially a dude who existed to get beat up by the Hulk in that one gag moment, right? I put him as a B. If I put him in broader movie context, he'd be like a C. But because it's Marvel movies, I'm putting him at a B. All right, moving on. Ultron is like a D. Fucking really, 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 really. Ellis is, as a villain, Loki's mediocre, but as an anti-villain, he works really well, in my opinion. I like Loki best in Thor Ragnarok. I like Loki best with his redemption arc. I think he's a really fun character. I think he's a great character as a counterpart to Thor when he's actually, actually getting to like when he's written as when he's written as a companion piece in that sense, like a sidekick who grows, who changes, like an anti-hero-esque character who goes through that arc. Yeah, that's cool. But as a villain in Thor, he was very fucking weak to me. Like as a villain, like both in terms of like an actual threat and in terms of actual entertainment value and in terms of just general character nuance and performance. I'm like, I don't know why people are so enamored with this guy. This is like a fine performance for a superhero movie, I guess. It's not that great. And then when he was put in the Avengers, I was like, this guy is such a fucking, like, this is a fucking joke that this guy is the villain for the entire Avengers movie. It's like a dude that, like, that in the Thor film itself, it felt as though he was a wildly underwhelming actual opponent for Thor. And then it's like, okay, well now if we want to have all the heroes together, like Thor plus all these other heroes, who would be a good villain for them? Oh, it's like this a dude that I already thought was underwhelming just in the Thor film itself, right? So I'm putting Loki in B, and I know that's controversial because people really like Loki. General Wong says Ultron in the comics was S Morj. Yeah, I bet. And you know what he was S in also? This little show called Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It's an animated TV show. It's just an animated TV show. It's for kids, but I watched it as a grown-ass person in college. And it was fun. And that was good too. It was like Ultron was good in that too. Like actually intimidating, scary villain that was very, very effective. Here, you know where Ultron seemed like he was going to be an S-tier villain? In the trailers. If you remember the strings, like I have strings, they blah, 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 keep me down, etc. Fucking menacing there. In the actual movie, it's like, it's Marvel playing to its worst tendencies of thinking that every villain needs to be kind of silly or jokey or made fun of or make fun of itself in some kind of way. Thank God they realized that's not the way to write Thanos, and Thanos is an S-tier villain as far as Marvel movies go. In general, I think Thanos is an S-tier villain in cinema. Like in general, if you look at all pop culture in totality 50 years down the line, like Thanos will be up there, whether you like it or not in terms of iconic movie villains. Thanos will be up there with like Darth Vader and shit, right? He's this generation's Darth Vader, essentially. Yeah, no, Ultron is a fucking threat in comics, in like the TV show I watched. He's actually really, 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 like, he's terrifying. Here it's just like, I don't know, like the Hulk can beat him as a joke. I don't know. Great trailer. The trailer for Age of Ultron is like one of the best movie trailers, period. Let's get to this. Stream likes up to 100 real quick. Red Skull, very forgettable C tier villain. Sandwich says Ultron just seemed incompetent the whole movie. Yeah. Winter Soldier was a cool villain. I liked Winter Soldier as a villain. He was very silent, but it was a fun... I think Red Skull is actually D tier. Who is this right here? Oh, this shouldn't be here. This was an accident. This should be gone. Dormammu, C tier. C tier, I don't know, D tier. He's only there for a moment. This guy is Baron Zemo, right? Is this Baron Zemo? Is this Baron Zemo? Oops. Helmut Zemo, Baron Zemo, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is it this guy? Is it him? So, if you know anything about the comics whatsoever, and I don't even know that much about the comics, but again, I watched an animated TV show. This is the worst villain, comic to movie adaptation villain of all time. Almost without question. Almost unquestionably. Oh, wait, so I was right about the guy I was saying before? Was it this guy? Was it this? Who is it? I can't even tell. No, it is this guy, right? It's this dude, right? Okay, so it is this dude. Okay, here we go. This guy is D tier, right? Easy D tier. It's just, like, come on. Easy D tier. Alright, Ronan was decent. I think Ronan was decent. I'm gonna put him as a B. He was okay. Like, he was very strong, intimidating, yada yada. This guy was a coolish villain. He was an okay villain. Why do I have him? I guess I put him here. No, like, it just feels like there's such a gap between these guys and, like, Winter Soldier was just a really fucking effective. I think just the vibe that Winter Soldier gave off that whole movie was really, really effective. It worked really, really well. Just lethal, competent, mysterious. It worked. And the street fight that he had with Captain America, where they're pulling out knives and shit, and it was amongst the cars, to date, maybe like the best choreographed Marvel fight ever. I guess this guy's here. I don't know. D. Oh, this dude. This is the Tony Stark built this shit in a fucking cave. I'm gonna put him up here. He's okay. These are all okay villains. It's not iconic by any means, but like he had some good lines and he's, you know, charismatic. This dude, the bird dude, I'm gonna put him here. This dude should never have been the fucking Mandarin. That's the name, right? Yeah. Lame as fuck. Ben Kingsley should have been it instead. Wait, no, because there's... Okay, I'm doing this all wrong, because there's actual D-tier villains, and I'm including some C-tier villains with them. Right, these are C-tier. Haven't seen this. Why'd I include this? Haven't seen this. Okay. The Vulture was great. I like the Vulture a lot. Vulture was great. And the twist of the Vulture turning out to be Spider-Man's date's dad was phenomenal. Oh, and then obviously, here we go. Fuck, Spider-Man just gets the good villains, huh? Why is Loki here twice? I think Hela was a really good villain. Very good villain. First thing she's... Because I think I respect villains a lot that have a lot of impact, right? Villains that have a lot of impact... So it's a few things, right? There's a lot of things, but let me... If I sum up in a very small way, right? A couple things that matter to me a lot are villains having significant impact, good dialogue, good acting performances. Those things matter, right? So Hela, phenomenal, like great acting, right? Ton of screen presence, etc. But also just impact. Fucking tearing apart all of Asgard, takes over all of Asgard, destroys Thor's hammer, essentially breaks him, like takes his eye. So much impact from this one villain. Really, really changed the entire game for Thor, right? Whereas this dude, I don't know what the fuck he did. I think he killed Thor's mom or something, but none of us really know or remember Thor's mom in the first place. I couldn't tell you her name. I don't know who this is. Why did I leave this person down here? Yeah, these villains all, like, either really good acting performances or a high level of impact. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is kind of how I view it. This is it. This is my breakdown. I stand by it. I think I stand by it. Norman is S? No, come on now. Thanos is the only S tier villain. Like, I'm never gonna sit here and be like, oh, you know what was one of the greatest movie villains of our era? The fucking Green Goblin from Spider-Man. Like, no, it's like a good villain for Spider-Man movies, right? But it's not like Thanos. You genuinely sit back and most people would say one of the greatest movie villains of our era, right? There are too many lines from Thanos that are simply like, you could not live with your own failure. Where did that lead you? Back to me, right? Perfectly balanced as all things should be. All that for a drop of blood. Do you know how many lines of dialogue from Thanos alone would be considered today iconic movie quotes from today? Do you know if you went back through like the last 2 decades of movies, went through actually iconic quotes that are made it into pop culture mainstream and stuck there, right? Fucking like, I don't think there's a lot, but a lot of them are just gonna be fucking Thanos quotes. Like, a lot of them are just gonna be Thanos quotes. This dude is very, very well written when it comes to dialogue and delivery because it just sticks. I don't really like, if you're gonna argue that Thanos has not definitively become one of the most iconic movie villains ever, like, period, then you're just like trying to be a contrarian because you just don't like Marvel movies or whatever, right? And that's fine. You cannot like him, but it's fucking stupid. That's like saying like Darth Vader's quotes aren't fucking iconic. You know what I mean? It's fine if you didn't like him in Endgame, or you feel like he should have had more stuff in Endgame or something. That's just your preference for how the character turned out, but it doesn't matter how he has stamped himself. He's in he's not in the same list as these other guys, really. Like, these are just Marvel villains, right? This is basically a movie villain, like a cinema movie villain that will be part of Hollywood history for decades and decades and decades, you know? Joseph E. says you're not Cooking Man, Green Goblin is S tier. There's no argument, dude. There's no argument. Again, I could list 2 of Thanos' lines, and it would be more iconic than anything Green Goblin has said in his entire fucking like career across however many films he's been in. It's not really close. I am inevitable. Reality is often disappointing. You could like these are all like quotes that just have permeated general mainstream culture, right? It's on a different level. These aren't really comparable. You know what I mean? Like these guys were good for the movies they were in. This guy is basically the definitive movie villain, period, since fucking Heath Ledger's Joker, right? In terms of just mainstream cultural consciousness, how much he's the impact he's left, etc. It's very different. All right. I haven't seen Black Panther. I don't know about Killmonger. I'm not going to go ahead and include things I haven't seen. All right. Moving on. Eric Reed says Thanos doesn't win just because he has more TikTok edits. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that at a certain point, if a film or a character produces lines of dialogue that stick with so many people, then at a certain point you just have to acknowledge that there must be something about the writing around that character that is strikingly memorable, right? That's just the way it is, right? It's the same way that Casablanca, it's precisely because it's produced so many memorable quotes that permeate culture, right? Like, I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship, right? Play it again, Sam. Like, there's so many quotes that come from that movie that stuck with mainstream culture and stuck in people's heads. At a certain point, Casablanca goes down as just having really, really good screenwriting, because that's what that means. There's a connection there. These are not two random, unrelated things. You think that maybe there's a reason that there's not as many TikTok edits of these other characters, even though a lot of them are from equally popular movies? You think there's a reason that maybe their lines of dialogue are not quoted nearly as much or talked about as much, or don't stick in mainstream consciousness? You think it's just random and people just pick like, hey, we're going to go with Thanos? You think that it's just irrelevant? You don't think that there might be something about the wording, the delivery, etc., that actually sticks with people and speaks to the impact that he had on screen, the amount of time that he had, what he did with the time that he was on screen? You think that these are just unrelated things? Like, I don't know. Like, that's a downright stupid argument, in my opinion, to say, like, well, he has TikTok edits, that's why those lines are popular. No, it's because his lines of dialogue left an impact. Therefore, it leads to a lot of social media edits. It leads to memes, it leads to being referenced a lot, etc. You're getting the causality wrong there. All right. We are done with this. We're done with this. And here's what we're going to do to close out the stream. We're going to do something that I really, really, really did not want to do. Something I really didn't want to do, which is watch some of the story of Pokemon Adventures. We're just going to watch a bit of it. We're just going to put a bit of it, but not, not the whole thing. A little bit, but not the whole thing. All right. We're going to watch a bit. All right. And we're going to watch it on 2x speed, so I don't really have to. So if you guys can't keep up, that's on you. All right. But watch it on 2x speed. All right, everybody. Kurokami, did you miss this? Not necessarily the movies are just popular. There's other Avengers, like the first Avengers movie is really fucking popular. It was the most popular movie of like that stretch of time, right? Loki's quotes are not as popular, right? There's a lot of movies that are really, really popular. Maybe not quite Avengers Infinity War popular, but like 90% or 80% as popular. The villains don't get that level of dialogue becoming iconic, right? That's not a normal thing, right? All of the, like many of those Marvel movies also made billions of dollars, right? Maybe not quite as much as Infinity War again, but still, it's not as though all of those villains are getting anywhere close to the, like, at the end of the day, most of the Marvel movies, villains are forgettable, right? Thanos is the only one that has crossed over to mainstream cultural consciousness because the writing around his dialogue really was good and the delivery was really good. That's it. All right. Ancrus has missed my member chat. I'm sorry, man. Let me take a look. Oh, Ancrus, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 11 months. Hi, Morj. Please check out Kagurabachi. All the memes aside, it is one of the most fun weekly publications I've read, and the art direction and cinematic feel make it very unique. Finish Fire Punch 2. Kagurabachi. Okay, I'll see about that. I don't know, man. There's just so many other manga to read. I don't know if I'd read Kagurabachi before, like, Sakamoto Days or, like, Dandadan or something like that. But I did read the first chapter. I thought the first chapter was okay. Okay. You guys ready? Ready? BTB says most are one and dones. It doesn't matter because Thanos he didn't do anything in previous movies outside of Avengers Infinity War. And to be fair, he didn't really talk in Endgame either. Almost, like, think about that. All of his iconic lines of dialogue come from Infinity War. Which means that, like, if you were to go with a ratio of, like before that, he just had an appearance in Avengers. After that, he, like, had an appearance here or there, but not really, like, iconic. Like, he wasn't really saying shit, you know? Like, you combine all of his dialogue pre-Infinity War, it's maybe, like, 2-3 lines of dialogue. That's it. If you were to, like, at this point, you're just being disingenuous if you're trying to argue that Thanos, in terms of just straight ratio of good, like, memorable dialogue that sticks in your head to screen time, isn't fucking off the charts. You're just being disingenuous. You know for a fact that, like, if you were to straight up comb through all, like, movie villains that have existed and kind of stacked up memorable dialogue that sticks with you with, like, the ratio of that to their screen time, Thanos is, like, really, really, really fucking high up there, right? It's just the way it is. Way it is. I think at this point you're just being a hater if you're trying to argue that Thanos isn't clearly a cut above all the rest of the Marvel movie villains that are listed there. Green Goblin's a good villain. Great performance, etc. But, like, there's not that much, like, in the grand scheme of things, he's just good for being a superhero movie villain, right? Thanos is an iconic movie villain, period, right? He's up there, period. He's up, like, whether you like it or not, he's up there with Darth Vader and shit like that. It's just the way it is. Or Heath Ledger's Joker. Obviously not the same acting performance as Heath Ledger's Joker, but that's not what we're debating, right? We're just talking about, like, how big did you make it? Like, how great of a villain did you essentially become? Thanos is on another level from these other ones. All right, moving on. Fuck, do I have to get my headphones? What if I just play it, like, desktop audio? Should I turn on desktop audio for this? Do I get copyright struck? I don't want to get copyright struck.
I'll be starting yet another new series. This being the Pokemon Adventures Arc Explained.
Can you guys hear this?
What I aim to cover in this series
This is okay?
brief, but also in depth look at every arc in the Pokemon Adventure manga. To act as a sort of recap for those who have read it, also a brief summary for those who haven't. And where else better to start than the first arc itself, the red, green, and blue.
Yeah, I'll turn on captions for you guys.
Before we get into things, I want to give a quick disclaimer. This video is not a substitute for the original source, and make sure you go purchase the manga, as it's a really great read. You can easily get it physically from Amazon, digitally from Amazon, or on Viz. But with the disclaimer done, let's get back into things.
Okay, we're gonna find out how this Pokemon Adventure story goes. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon Adventures is not the actual Pokemon TV show. It is a manga. It's a manga. I'm pretty sure, covering Pokemon. And this is part 1 of it. Red is my favorite character. Wait, what? Is this a joke? So Ash has Pikachu. Fucking awesome Pokemon. I think anyone can agree on that, right? Pikachu, like one of the top 10 best created Pokemon in history, right? It's fucking Pikachu. Everyone loves Pikachu, right? Poliwhirl was like, I guess, some side Pokemon that you'd see occasionally in Pokemon, but nobody, who in their right mind is like watching Pokemon and thinking, hey, who would be the perfect, like, if, like, let's say Ash didn't have Pikachu, what would be the best Pokemon to be like, you know, his accompanying starter main Pokemon, right? You'd probably say some shit like Charmander or Squirtle, right? Or like Bulbasaur. Who the fuck picks Poliwhirl? Okay, so if I were to read this manga, not that I haven't, but if I were to read this manga, if I'm being perfectly honest, if I were to read this manga and I'm opening up page 1 and the first thing I'm seeing is the main character checking out his first Pokemon and it's fucking Poliwhirl, I would drop it right there, first page. His goal is to catch every Pokemon in the world. I've heard this before. Wait, this has Professor Oak too? Can you guys hear this? Can you guys hear this? Is this okay? Wait, what? His Poliwhirl got defeated? Who could have guessed that? Who has he been beating with Poliwhirl? I wonder if he hasn't even been fighting other people with Pokemon, but if he's just been throwing out Poliwhirl to fight other humans. Like, if he's at school and he's like, I challenge you to a Pokemon battle, but the other kid doesn't even have a fucking Pokemon, so it's just Red and his Poliwhirl beating up on this kid. I'll say this about Poliwhirl. I personally think... Let me look something up. I think I could beat a Poliwhirl. Hold on. Poliwhirl. I think I could beat a Poliwhirl. I think I could just take it, right? Hold on, let me see. Let me do some research. Poliwhirl. Okay, hold on. Here, found a video. Okay, unfriendly Poliwhirl. I'm just gonna turn the audio off so it doesn't get... Okay, I couldn't beat... Okay. Oh, this is a Poliwrath. I was like, I can't beat this thing. Can you guys hear this audio? This is actually really fucking funny. Hold on, listen to this. This is really fucking funny. I'll turn on desktop audio for a moment. Okay, hold on.
Poliwrath.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem too friendly.
Poliwrath.
It just says Poliwrath, Poly, and then punches him. Just smashes him underwater. Anyway, so I don't think I can beat a Poliwrath. I'm not crazy,
Yeah,
but
it doesn't seem too
I'm
friendly.
pretty sure I could beat a Poliwhirl. I don't think there's any difference between what this Poliwrath does to this Poliwhirl versus what I could do to this Poliwhirl. I think I could beat a Poliwhirl. What if we did tier list of Pokemon I think I could beat, like, myself individually? in one-on-one combat. Okay, let's get back to the thing. I just don't understand how Red has won any Pokemon battle ever, because I don't think a Poliwhirl can actually defeat even a human, let alone other Pokemon. You know what I mean? All right, let's move it along.
Red, telling him that he forfeited the match because of the difference in strength between his Pokemon and the wild Pokemon, giving Red some advice to know his limits before walking away smug.
Pokemon turning on audio. Do you guys want desktop audio? Or you guys can hear okay? I think I'm not even being arrogant here, because I think a lot of you guys could beat Poliwhirl. Like, I'm not trying to be arrogant. Like, oh, I could fight a bear or something like that. I'm not saying I could fight a bear. I think I could beat a Poliwhirl. Also, aren't there like lots of real life animals that are stronger than Pokemon? Like some Pokemon? Like, could a Squirtle beat a bear? Like a real life bear? I don't think so. You guys want desktop audio, but what if I get copyright struck? I guess we'll just see. We'll find out.
Overwhelmed by his defeat, Red decides it's time to go to Professor Oak's lab.
I just don't understand, because it's like, if you're walking around with a Pikachu, then yeah, it makes sense that you're like really cocky, overconfident, because like, you're walking around with a creature that can summon lightning, right? But a Poliwhirl, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what it does. But I just know it's not that useful.
We'll just get some real lessons on how to become a great Pokemon.
Okay, also heads up, I got 15 minutes of this, all right? 15 minutes, and then I gotta call stream.
Trainer. Once at the lab, Red rings the doorbell.
Dr. Mercius says bro's underestimating wild Pokemon. We just watched footage of that live Pokemon losing to a standard punch.
But to no answer. When he checks the handle, he realizes that the door is open, so he lets himself in, as you do in Pokemon. Inside, Red sees a ton of Pokemon inside their Pokeballs, some of which he's never seen before. One Pokemon in particular catches Red's interest, being a Bulbasaur, that's kept on the table all by itself.
A Bulbasaur, there we go. All right, there we go.
Begins to start growling. Suddenly, a door opens and
makes
opens his
sense.
appearance. Assuming Red to be a Pokemon thief, in the panic, Red stumbles back and accidentally releases all the Pokemon.
Wait, hold on.
Body to the Pokemon, it begins to start growling. Suddenly, a door opens and Oak makes his appearance. Assuming Red to be a Pokemon thief, in the panic, Red stumbles back and accidentally releases all the Pokemon.
Does this happen in the same universe as Ash exists, or is this different?
Pokeballs, causing Red to try to get them all back. After a long time, Red manages to catch most of them.
Wrench Dodger 2000 says no, Pikachu is trash. This is marketing propaganda. A Pikachu would fuck up a Poliwhirl. You are lying if you told me that you think you have a better shot beating a Pikachu than a Poliwhirl.
But some of them manage to escape. Red really wants to go out and hunt for them, but Professor Oak isn't going to let him go so easily, still thinking that he's a thief. Red then explains that he wasn't trying to cause any trouble, and he's sorry for entering the lab without permission. But right now they need to focus on catching the Pokemon that went missing. And so the duo head outside, making their way all the way to Viridian City in order to catch the Pokemon, until only one remains, being Bulbasaur. When it spots Red and Oak, it immediately hides in the city's gym. Professor Oak tries to reason with the Pokemon, but it attacks him, causing Red to have to intervene and calm the Pokemon down, realizing that it's so aggressive because this is its first time outside and seeing other creatures, due to the fact that Professor Oak kept it in a ball by itself, allowing Bulbasaur to calm down and trust Red. But the trio is interrupted by the appearance of a wild Machoke.
Look at that. See, I think we can all agree that none of us could defeat this, right? A Machoke.
Want to fight them. Bulbasaur stops the Pokemon from attacking Red, but Professor Oak gets knocked out, leaving the battle up to Red to fight himself. Although he knows nothing about the Pokemon, he uses some quick thinking to realize Bulbasaur's attack is Solar Beam, simply due to the bulb on its back. Professor Oak wakes up and is impressed by Red's actions, awarding the boy the Bulbasaur to keep, which Red nicknames Saw. Red then explains to Professor Oak.
I like this. So it makes sense why he started with a Poliwhirl, right? It's to get the actual legit Pokemon after this. And I think Bulbasaur is an okay starter. I don't know why anyone would pick Bulbasaur as a starter. Because I know the three starters. I'd never played Pokemon really, right? But I know the three starters are Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, right? And I think obviously if you're just a sane, normal person, you would just pick Charmander because it's the coolest. It's not really close, right? But I get people who are kind of like off-brand or whatever. They're like, well, I want to go with the water type because water is like water beats fire, and you know, like Squirtle's not cool now, but it could become cool later. But I don't know. I just don't really know I don't know the type of kid that picks Bulbasaur exactly. It's hard to say. How could I describe this kid without being very mean and rude? I probably should just I'm just not going to say anything, but I think it's better if I don't say anything, but I think there's something interesting about the types of kids that would pick Bulbasaur. Just like, what goes on in your brain? Like, see, like this fire creature, this water creature, and then this leaf thing. And you're just like, oh, that would be cool. Right? And you're like, I just don't know. I don't know what type of... I think it's cool for this, because this is like a story, right? So it's like, he has to deal with the struggles of having a shitty-ass starter Pokemon. Poliwhirl was too shitty, but a Bulbasaur, it's like, oh, it's not cool like Charmander, or like off-brand cool like Squirtle. It's lame like a Bulbasaur, but, you know, it's interesting to see him have to struggle with this lame Pokemon. I wonder if he knows, because, like, spoilers, a Bulbasaur will unfortunately evolve into an Ivysaur, which, by the way, looks fucking identical to a Bulbasaur. So it's the least creative evolution I've ever seen out of any of the starters. It's just like, hey, guess what? This Bulbasaur is evolving into another Bulbasaur, right? They should have just labeled it, like, they should have fucking skipped the second stage of evolution for Bulbasaur. It essentially doesn't exist, right? Bulbasaur and Ivysaur, they look fucking identical. You put them in one of those lineups where they have to, you know, like those jail lineups where you have to pick out who's who. You'd basically be like, I can't tell which one's the evolution of who. It's just the same. It's two fucking Bulbasaurs, right? And then it's like, oh, well, if you really fucking persevere, then you get all the way to a Venusaur. And it's just, Venusaur is just so blatantly lamer than Charizard and Blastoise. Because one's a fucking dragon, so Charizard's automatically the coolest Pokemon. It's just a dragon, even though it's technically not a dragon. But it looks like a dragon, you know what I mean? It's this badass dragon. And the other's just this fucking jacked-ass tank with, like, bazookas for like, shoulders. So it's like, fuck, like, it's not a dragon, but it's just as badass as a dragon. And the other one's just like, oh, it's a Bulbasaur, but now it's a big Bulbasaur, which is already lame, and now it has a flower on it, which is the least intimidating thing to possibly have on your back. You know? So I think it's interesting that Bulbasaur is the starting Pokemon because it gives him this sort of challenge to overcome as the story goes, right? All right, let's go. Jolly D. Joseph says Bulbasaur is the strongest starter for Gen 1. I didn't say what's meta. I'm not talking about what's meta. Who gives a fuck about what's meta? It's Pokemon, right? It's Pokemon. You're just playing for fun. And you wouldn't really, like, run... My understanding is you wouldn't really, like, roll with those even to the end of the game, right? You pick up other Pokemon and shit, right? I'm saying what's the lamest? And Bulbasaur is obviously the lamest, right? I think that's pretty much unquestionable. I really hope that this chat isn't filled with people that think Bulbasaur is cool. Because this is my community. I want to have pride in my community, you know what I mean? Like, this is my viewership here. And I think... Like, come on, man. Like, all sane people would agree that Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, the Char train is the coolest one to be on. If you want to get on the other train and get to Blastoise with the cool-ass bazookas on the back and everything, and it's this jacked-ass turtle, that's a respectable train to be on. I feel like it's the weirdos that are on the Bulbasaur train. Bulbasaur, the evolution train of Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur 2, big Bulbasaur with the flower on the back. I feel like that's just the weirdest evolution train to be on, right? I don't know who picks that other than people that just maybe just I don't know, people that just think alternatively to I guess to most folk, I suppose. But again, I appreciate that that's Red's starter Pokemon because it just gives him this extra sort of like adversity to deal with in the story, in that like he's got to deal with the lamest Pokemon. You know, if he had a Charizard, that'd be too cool for a main character. Ash has a Charizard, and Ash's Charizard is so cool that they actually have to ship him off to Charizard Valley so that Ash can't just pull out his badass Charizard all the time, right? Okay, Behanoid, thanks a lot. You doing React Andy content is pretty fun, actually. We could do more of it in the future, especially with these insane rants. They're not insane. This is my true, genuine feelings.
Which Red nickname Saw? Red then explains to Professor Oak everything that happened and why he saw out for him in the first place. After catching up on the story...
New X7 says everyone knows Charizard is the coolest. Exactly. This is just like people trying to be... Like, okay, how do I say this? Charizard is obviously the coolest. And then Squirtle is like the hipster. Squirtle through Blastoise, that's like the hipster pick, right? So if you want to be different and claim that Charizard's not the coolest, that's cool. The hipster pick is already Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise. That's the hipster pick, right? You got the cool pick, you got the hipster pick. Bulbasaur is just the lame pick, right? That's just objectively the lame one. I don't know what my chat is on when they're trying to act like Bulbasaur through Venusaur is somehow... Don't even put him in the same sentence as Charizard. I would argue that Charmeleon is cooler than Venusaur, in my opinion. All right, let's roll.
Professor Oak then quizzes Red on what he truly believes makes a great trainer, before revealing to him the answer. What's inside your heart and the connection between trainer and Pokemon, like what Red showed with his Bulbasaur. After this lesson, Oak gives Red a Pokédex and tells him by the time that he's completed it, chances are he'd already have become a great trainer.
I have a question. What's inside your heart and the connection between trainer and Pokemon? Those are the two things that make you a great Pokemon trainer. What about... Does intelligence matter?
Like what Red showed with his Bulbasaur. After this lesson, Oak gives Red a Pokédex and tells him by the time that he's completed it, chances are he'd already have become a great trainer, altering Red's goal from wanting to catch them all to becoming one of the greats. A day or so later, Red heads to the Viridian Forest in order to catch more Pokemon. Also in the forest at the same time is the boy from before, who's patiently waiting for something, taking out a Pokédex and revealing himself to also be a Pokédex holder. Inside the forest, Red's Poliwhirl ends up getting attacked by a Charmander, belonging to the boy. The boy claims that he thought it was a wild Pokemon and says it was nothing personal.
Look at this dude walking around with a Charmander. He's gonna think Red's an idiot.
But the hothead Red gets straight to throwing hands.
You did this to my Poliwhirl. Okay, let's see.
Then recognize each other. But they get interrupted by a stomping sound, confusing Red but exciting the boy, who's been patiently waiting for this. This being a Kangaskhan, something that doesn't even exist in the Viridian.
What the fuck? A Kangaskhan? What is this? This thing's huge.
for it. But anyway, the boy attacks a Pokemon in order to catch it, whilst taking out his Pokedex. Surprising Red to see another Pokedex in existence. The boy laughs, saying that his granddad told him that he gave away a Pokedex to someone, never expecting it to be him, also revealing himself to be the aforementioned Professor Oak's grandson. The boy then continues his attacks on Kang's
Damn. Okay.
son, but Red realizes that something's wrong when the Pokemon doesn't fight back, but instead rejects being captured. And after taking a closer look, Red tells the boy to stop attacking, but he ignores him, forcing Red to use Poly to stop a Charmander. Red runs over to the Pokemon and asks if his baby's alright, with the baby Kangaskhan poking his head out from the pouch and revealing that it's been poisoned by another Pokemon. However, this is nothing the quick antidote can't fix, as Red heals up the Pokemon good as new, allowing the Kangaskhan to return back to the wild. The boy sarcastically
Oh, that's nice. Okay, I like that storyline.
thanks Red, and Red advises him that a win isn't
Red Possum says people who choose Bulbasaurs just because they like green, to be honest. I'm going to be honest. This is going to be another hot take. All right? I feel like the best colors... I feel like the best colors are clearly either blue or red. Right? Am I right? What's your favorite color? Here, let me just ask. I feel like the best colors are either blue or red. I don't feel like too many people... Okay. Favorite... What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? I just feel like there's not too many people who like have green as their favorite color. And I feel like there's a heavy drop off after green, right? Like it's blue and red is most people's favorite color. And then I feel like green is like the third, and then I think there's a drop off. You don't get that many yellows. I think pink is a big one. Okay, I'll just do blue, red, green, or other. No, I'm just going to do blue, red, green. No, I'll do blue, red, green, other. All right. I'm being serious. I don't think there's that many people whose favorite color is green. You guys are going to vote green just to piss me off. This is not fair. Okay, see, like the majority of people pick blue. Then you got red, and then you got green. That's kind of how I feel like it is, right? And plus, we're accounting for the fact that some of you guys are going to pick green just to piss me off. Here, let's actually find out. Let's find out. What is most people's favorite color? Yeah, according to most studies, blue is the favorite color worldwide. I've heard that Google's AI is sketchy, but let's see. What are the top 3 favorite colors? Oh, shit! Is green ahead of... blue, of red? Okay, hold on. Blue. Well, what's the ranking? It just says blue's the favorite. We want to know the ranking. Blue is my favorite color. I guess that's basic now that I fully understand it. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. So blue is overwhelming. Then it does seem like red takes second in most places. Yeah, see, blue, then red, red. No, green beats it out. Okay, so in China and the U.S. Oh, shit. So in the U.S. and China's got a high population, green beats red. But red is usually about second. Red is often second place. Green is often second place, too. I think red is general. So blue seems to win pretty much all the time. Then red is pretty hot on its heels pretty often. And then green has a couple second places. Has a few second places. 3 second places. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I wasn't too off. I wasn't being crazy when I was saying that I feel like most people like blue or red as their favorite color. Although in the US, I'm surprised to learn that red's so far down. Although this is about the same amount. Green, purple, red. But I think I was correct in saying that I think fewer people like I guess green's not third place by that much, right? I'm also surprised that purple is so high. I thought pink would be higher than purple. Interesting. Indonesia likes brown as its third favorite color? Never really heard that. Orange makes it up here. Yeah, see, I feel like not a lot of people like yellow. I don't think that was that wild of a take, what I just said. I don't think that was that crazy. All right. I'm going to watch 1 more minute of this and then probably call the stream. All right? Wait, let me check one thing real quick. Okay. All right, here we go. 1 more minute.
Really a win if his opponent was already disadvantaged. The boy then begins to get back on his way, but not before being nagged by Red to tell him his name, which is blue, or green depending on the translation.
My name's Blue. Okay, makes sense.
Improves his rival, saying that he won't lose to him, and Professor
Oh wait, let me double check if there's any comments I'm missing. Okay.
Oak, who's hiding in the bushes, smiles, looking forward to seeing how the rivalry will unfold between both trainers. But next up on Red's trip is Pewter City, where the townfolk are in disarray, since a wild Pikachu's been going around and causing mayhem. So now it's time for the hero to
A Pikachu! Fuck, maybe Ash is in
hero
here.
things, and Red steps in to capture the Pokemon, using Soulslike attack to make the Pokemon drowsy, and finishing off with a simple Pokeball,
A Bulbasaur can't beat a Pikachu.
making Red's third team member.
That's insane. Pikachus have lightning. Bulbasaur, what? This is
The
stupid.
Pikachu. Red gets a reward of tons of food for helping the villagers, while Pikachu is
Pokemon doesn't make any sense sometimes.
too happy about everything, shaking inside of his Pokeball.
I hope he makes this Pikachu his main Pokemon. But I feel like it's going to be the Bulbasaur.
Now it's time for some attitude training. Red does his best to befriend Pikachu, but to no success, which is picked up on by his new rival, Blue, who taunts Red on his lack of progress. Red, of course, falls for this taunt and challenges Blue to a battle, who instead comes up with a better idea, being that they should both challenge Brock at the Pewter City gym and have the winner be decided by who can get the border badge
Wait,
first.
Brock is in this? Wait, so this is just... So the actual Pokemon anime is heavily based on this, huh? That's interesting. Okay. All right, guys. I think I got to call it for stream here just based on time. But this was actually very fun. We are going to pick... So next stream, I'm going to be doing the One Piece episode reaction. And this was actually a lot of fun. So I think I'm going to probably pick this up where we left off next stream. This is fun. I'm surprised I enjoyed this as much as I did. Yeah. And thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry we went with the stream topic that we ended up going with, but I thought we were going to be doing an episode reaction. But looks like the Garp versus Aokiji fight is being saved for next episode. People did kind of warn me about that, but it seemed as though we might be getting the beginning of the Hachinosu raid just based on previews. But it looks like next episode is going to be where the real fighting stuff happens. So we'll watch that, and we can watch a bit more of this. Here's what I realized. I'm never going to watch all of this in one go, but I will watch... I can watch this in bits and pieces as we go. Behanort says, what's the plan for next week? Jump break next week. Yeah, we're gonna do a react to the... Oh, shit, actually, though. We're supposed to do the prediction stream. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I do want to do the episode reaction. I think it's best to do the episode reaction. Maybe we fit a few things in. Episode reaction plus predictions. We'll figure it out. All right. Abraar says the actual anime is based on the games, and then I guess the manga is also kind of parallels the anime. I don't know. All right, Remix King, good shit. Thank you for pushing us to watch this. This is fun. The manga is canon, not the anime. Neither are canon, right? Like they're both just their own thing, right? All right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll probably pick this up a little bit later.